Hello, everybody. How are we doing tonight? Hoping everything is working. And if you guys can't hear me or anything like that, please let me know. I wanted to double check here because I think my settings weren't set up. I think that was just the headphones. So give me a thumbs up in the chat. Make sure everything is good. As usual, I always got to make sure things are working correctly because I'm probably will boomer it. But welcome to Getting Down with Dave, and we are doing. Oh, cool! Thank you, Pete's Cat. I wasn't sure if that was going to work. I'm always trying to get the timing down right with the intros and all that, and especially with that clock one. Let me adjust my camera here a little bit. I don't like this. I don't like it where my head is cut off here. I'm going to try to adjust my chair and then go to the camera. Hope that's a little bit better, everybody. Okay. Yeah, seems like it's okay. Hey, Snort. How's it going, Bear? Good to see you as always. And I'm just always getting everything set up, making sure the sound and the videos coming through. And I was just gonna say we're waiting for some guests, and on perfect timing, there we go. Welcome, JT Kirk.
Hey, good evening.
The hell, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. And yourself?
Good. I always stall a little bit, making sure everything's working and trying to do a little intro video and time it with the countdown and the delay. I do that every week, every time I go live. And I think I'm getting it down. So how that works. Yeah. So what's up? You got a new icon there.
Oh yeah. Stilling and Brave Megatron had a commission that I gave him to draw me an illustrated version of the captain. So here we are.
Very nice.
It's in the process of getting switched over on all of Dad Man's stuff and Mark's stuff and all the rest. So, yep.
Yeah, I'm always. And we'll get to the comics in a minute. Just a heads up, we are doing the Battlestar Galactica, the continuing saga of the adaptation. Right, JT?
Yes.
I got to be careful that I don't want to mislead my titles to everybody now, right? But it is their adaptation of the series. I didn't do it; they did it. So, did you have a chance to catch up on the comics, or did you wait for today?
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I had the last two read last week, but I was having issues out this way that wouldn't let me get on the stream. So this week everything is good, and I actually read tonight's two already.
Yeah, I waited to the last second. I kind of rushed through the last one. I might have eat something a little bit just in case I got to put us in intermission or something. But now that you're here, maybe I'm gonna have to commission you to hold down the stream every now and then.
Right.
But I feel okay. I think that you know how that goes, right? When you go live, anything can happen, and it might, right?
Yes.
But yeah, I'm glad you caught up on those. It's so cool that we had talked a while back, and you had these, right? You've got the whole series. You physically have these.
Yes, I do. The whole run.
Yeah. That was really cool. And shout out to our friend RIP to Clobby. He loved these as well. And just always try to remember to say that at least once every week or every other week. Try to remember to say that he actually got me to thinking about doing the comic stream. And this was my first pick, basically, because of him. And there you go. So let me get my we're doing number 9 and number 10. And let me make sure I got the right one. Here we go. Okay. And it's such a pain to add these, right? So I've got to click 1, 2, 3. And I guess I could have already had this set up. I'm learning that as well. I don't have to wait until the stream, but it covers you up right there on the StreamYard side. Mm-hmm. But I could have already done that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I got to pull it down off the tab or go back to the StreamYard side so that I know that I can see it when I go back to the StreamYards. So how many were we at there? 7, 6, 7, 8. Add it to stage. Then I got to go back to my tab, click back onto the one that I pulled down so that I can scroll like this. So 7, 8, 9 steps just to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's
you'll get it down. It'll be just
an
assembly of an M16. You have it eyes closed pretty soon.
Just got to remember to add it to the stage. And then I'm going to look on the YouTube side and see if my sizing is correct until that that left ad pops up on us, right? So I can always make it go a little bit higher and fit the screen for our great people in the chat. And hello, everybody. Snort, Putin's cat, sorry. And by the way, we should link his channel. You know that he has a channel?
I did know.
Now, how can I do that for him?
Through StreamYards? I don't know. I always do things through YouTube personally with the chat.
Oh, you just type it. You just type it right in.
Oh no! It's even easier than that. If you're a mod, there's the ellipses next to their names, and then when you click that, one of the several options is to go to their channel. So you can click on that and then paste it right in.
Oh, you do a copy and paste?
Yep.
I'm going to do it.
But there's Putin's cat's channel in the chat there.
Yep. I'm going to try it as well. Where's the paste? I don't have a paste. Sorry, guys.
I'm an IT guy. I do Control-C, Control-V for copy and paste these days. And hail to Gab After Dark. Great to see you
here. Hey, Gab. There we go.
We're just getting started here. You haven't missed anything yet other than a little bit of technical talk.
Yeah,
so,
Yep. Yeah, just giving a shout out there to Fusion. So he said hello, and I said, okay, there we go. So, everybody, for the Battlestar. Oh, let me get to my other page here. Because once I click off of that, I got to go back and pull up my scrolling end of it where I can scroll over and see the chat, but I like to at least be able to look at my face too there. It's easier that when you're live streaming to watch yourself, even though I got it on the other laptop. I'm going to downgrade this actually by one size, and we will get rolling. So a little synopsis for last week and for everybody. We have completely departed from the show. And what was your overall thinking about that?
So much of it hinges on the recurring issue of Adama in the memory device, and I don't really like the memory device all that much. So it kind of was a swing and a miss on that part, but diverging from the TV show, probably a good idea, because the TV show didn't really have a flowing continuity in some aspects. I mean, it didn't. I don't know if it really would have worked well for the comics as it did for the TV series. So, yeah, that's cool. And as we see, in hindsight now, the TV show was canceled while they're pretty early on in the comic series. So,
yes,
it's almost just a blessing to them that they did do this, because now they're not artificially ending their run just because the TV show was stopped.
Yeah, and that's a great observation. It gets brought up, I think, here in number 9. Of course, people who write, it's in one of the bullpens or Battlestar bullpen or whatever. Of course, the people who write the letters are a couple of issues behind the ones that we're doing, obviously, right? But somebody wrote a letter, and I don't know if you caught that in this.
I did.
Yeah, they brought it up, and they're like, "Hey, man, the show's been canceled." And I was like, "Oh, wow!" And I think this is a December already. Either 9 or number 10 is December of 79. So yeah, the TV show's already been unfortunately jacked, right? But this kind of goes along with what we were all talking about from maybe issue 2 or 3 that we kind of knew. We weren't trying to spoil alert on people. And I was kind of giving a little bit of hints here and there that if I didn't drop the ball and spoil alert all the way, about it. I did that with Mark, I think. I don't think he caught on the first time. He did like the second time. And well, once you go out into space and you end it like those old TV serials, right? Or the movie serials, the cliffhangers, that your options are really open, right? You can just do about anything. It's all up to your imagination and how good you're at writing and producing things, right?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the memory machine that I don't like it or didn't like it. And this is the great segue right into number 9. I guess we always say, what do you think about the cover?
I don't know. It kind of spoiled everything immediately for me. I remember looking at this like, okay, so we have this beast that's going to come in and take people over. Okay, I've seen this before, kind of a thing. Like that just it gave it away immediately. The art itself wasn't bad. I didn't mind the art, but left some to be desired. I must say, if I saw this on the shelf, I wouldn't have bought it. If I had limited money, like if you have to buy one comic at the comic shop, I would have said, no, not this month or not this week, and walked on by.
Yeah, I'm looking at I highlighted a comment. It's showing up here. Do you see the thing where Putin's okay?
Yep. It says thanks for the link.
Yeah, so the gap over to YouTube is really big right now. So if I don't,
that's fine. They'll hear everything in time.
Yeah, they'll hear everything in time.
No, it syncs up.
Yeah, and of course, if I star or highlight a comment, I've got to go back and click on my scrolling side as well. But that's not a big deal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not. I'm going to give a really bad grade. The colors seem to be great on the scan, but it would be on the comic book. Our comic books, we've been pretty lucky. They've held up over the years, but this is not a good cover. The one on the left is okay because it kind of tags along with the last issue, where he's in the machine now, and he's dreaming about going to that other planet. I don't know if you caught back up to the planet where him and Ty went to, and they were all robots except for like the head people and a few other people on the planet. Okay.
Yes.
So we're caught up there. That was a pretty good episode, except we get this guy here in the pink fuchsia, whatever that you call, and you don't know what that is because it doesn't match the show now. And again, I'm sorry, we're going to scroll up a little bit. It says based on the characters and concepts. They always have to give Glenn Larson his due because he owned it. That I did a little research, Glenn Larson. We already knew that, but that's why they do it now, and then inside and outside. So I agree with you. I don't know what this crazy Adama figure is here in the blue to the right here. He's just like, you know what I mean? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. We'll talk about it. Every comic, they do some good things, and then they just do some really weird stuff, right? This is just weird to me right off the bat. We haven't even got into page 1 yet. So without trying to drag it out too much, I don't like it. This green thing down here is, I don't know what the heck is that. So then you get it, but you have to read the comic, right?
Yes.
You can't understand anything that's going on here, especially that's Apollo and Starbuck because he's got a cigar, right? You're like, what is this, Green Army soldier green? And they're like shocked, and they're standing here and they're looking over there. And then after you read the comic, you go back to the cover and say, oh, okay.
I guess. So I could tell just looking at the cover that Adama was possessed by the thing behind him.
Well, you're
this
smarter.
This is going to be a body swap type possession episode. I'm going to just keep calling it episodes because I think of BSG as a TV episode every time I pick up one of these comics. So,
yeah. And the only thing that's a theme with this series is that they always throw in the hints with the title, Space Mimic. So if I'm just completely not paying attention to it, like I didn't, the title, because it's in white and blue there, and I'm more fascinated because of the colors of this alien and Adama looked like Freaky and the green people. Then you look at that mimic. Oh, there's two. Okay, got it. So now we kind of know what's going on. But if you completely phased on the title, you're like, what the heck? Because I'm not that smart. And then you get to this page. Huh?
I said, oh, come on.
Yeah, well, yeah. Once you see the title and you put it together, you're like, oh,
sure.
Because I don't like that cover at all, except the one to the left. And you get to
now you get some really low effort ships at the top.
Mm-hmm.
I call it the shoebox fleet because it looks like a shoebox, or maybe some kind of like VHS tape rewinders or something like that, right? Like you're just like, okay,
yeah. They make effort to keep reminding you they're out in space, they're out doing this. They I guess they do a good thing of trying to keep people on track here and there, but you really got to pay attention to it, which most people would, I guess, if you're reading it.
Right.
The Space Mimic is in a little horror, old school, classic 10-cent comic horror thing here. I like that.
Yeah, I was going to comment on the font as well.
The font is
straight
nice.
Out of the 30s, 40s, 50s kind of classic space horror, like you said.
yeah, and it gives you a monster vibe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the art's, it's here and there. Yuri's head looks like a big old, I don't know, cone head guy. I don't know what's up with that, but that's how he's. I don't know. They differentiate, and I wanted you to. Where is the? Okay, it's at the bottom. I think number 9 and 10 is different from all the people. Keep me on track of that if you can. I wrote some notes, but then I moved some stuff.
What do you
around.
mean by that? I'm sorry.
Different artists, different people, different writers, different things. I think this is the one where they completely change up.
None of these people do I really recognize from previous weeks.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's this one or not, or the next one. We'll get to that in a second. So they do make me happy because in the last issue or two, I was getting pretty upset that Apollo and them weren't getting even more irritated or taking action against this Yuri guy because the council seems to be not even there, right? Nobody seems to help Adama on this council, even though he's done all these things for him and been right, no matter what he's been doing. So I might be pointing out a little bit of a different. This might want to take a little bit longer. Sorry, because this really made me happy that they're really come after this guy, especially Apollo. Because they tried to, if you notice Boomer here in the last issue, they tried to kill Apollo, right?
Yep.
They tried to kill Adama, and it was blatantly obvious because even when the security guards were getting subdued or whatever, they still took a shot at the machine. So everybody who hasn't seen the other one or read the other one on the video, that's what's happened. And they're finally getting really nasty with Yuri. I like that, right? Because I was complaining about that before. Call him, hey, you tried to kill my father. Starbuck goes, oh, you're a slug of the lowest order.
Yes.
That was good, right?
Oh, yeah. Or I'm not a traitor, but I'm the closest one to him. Or I'm the closest man standing to one. Something like that. Is that in this week's or was that in last week's? I'm trying to remember. But that was another good line.
That was another. I think that might have been last week. I can't remember. I'm not too great with these. And then Athena gets her shots in. He stole it. Sound familiar? Wow, yep. Right? Some of the stuff going on here sounds really familiar. Not going to say anymore.
And the next page recaps basically everything you just said as well.
Right.
We really do have like 2 pages of recap.
Yeah, and then even Ty gets in it, calling it a plot and everything. And
you can definitely tell the art changed. Sire Yuri has a different look to him.
It's weird. He's like this egghead, potato head kind of guy. I don't know if it's good or bad, but this whole thing with Yuri is weird because it's hard to figure him out in the last one because now he tried to change his point of view on Adama, and it's hard to see if he's actually concerned because there's the ship that's missing, the food ship. Remember?
The agro ship.
The Argo ship is missing.
Yeah, the one thing that I noticed with Sire Yuri, because they need him to look more imposing. The very first page, they have Yuri with a very hard chin, and it looks rather chiseled. So you're like, okay, is he just a bodybuilder with a beer gut, But then you get down into this page that you're on now, and just a little bit higher, and then the fat frame here, he's the chunker, right? He's
a
obese.
big boy. He's
so it really, this image of him makes him look just not the same as they did on the page above. I don't know if it's because the artists here struggle depicting fat people or what, but
I don't know if it was a spacing issue, like you said. Yeah, pardon the pun.
On the next page, there's his face twice, and it changes yet again.
Yeah, and
two times again. Like I know I might be nitpicking a little bit.
No. I already said we might be dragging this one out a little bit because I felt like, but I like the writing. Because before I get down to that one, these guys, I'm really enjoying it, and I want to give them credit because when we don't like things, we get on them for it. But Apollo is jumping all over Ty's, saying, Apollo's really showing some anger here. He's normally can be restrained for the most part, but this is his dad. They tried to murder him, and they tried to kill him too. So he's pretty bad, and he calls Yuri a traitor.
Oh, right to his face.
Right to his face. It was behind him, but yeah, right to his face in front of Ty, Boomer, and Starbuck. And then this is a little bit of a flashback, everybody. That didn't happen right after he said that. I don't like how they do that. It can be a little confusing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to get to... Tell me when to stop when we get to the Yuri thing.
Okay, so this is another different picture of Yuri.
Yeah.
Again. And then if you scroll down a little more, you get yet another picture of him.
Hey, Buddy Hepburn's here.
Hey, how you doing, Buddy Hepburn? Good to see you.
Yeah, I think people who are following us, JT, are catching on to the artwork that just goes willy-nilly from one thing to another sometimes. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. We say it every issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the most part.
Yes.
The good and the bad. Like me, always, I'm going to harp on Jolly, right? Jolly and the Imperious Leader, what they did. From horrible to good. And then to...
So, yeah. And so this is kind of where I'm like, okay, you could tell the art style was a little bit different, especially from 2 or 3 issues ago. So I'm kind of getting a little turned off by the artwork, but I'm reading every speech bubble, right? So I'm more invested in the story at this point. And there's a lot of talking in this one.
There's a lot of talking going on, and I like it. I like at least what they're throwing down here. Athena calls him a lying slug. Right. And of course they're all blaming him from the past issue that it's possible that this dude took the ship out, hijacked it. They know he wouldn't have destroyed it because he's got to eat too, right?
Right.
But for some reason they have made it that they tried to hide their feelings before, but now they're not holding back that this guy might have did something with the ship on his own to make it look bad for Adama. But now it's hard to figure out Yuri's intentions or if he's really feeling bad about it or not. Who knows? Right.
Right.
But they're going all on him. Everybody is finally got this dude to where he's not even really fighting back. This Yuri guy. Usually he's a smart ass and gets really defensive. He's not scared of him, but now he's looking like he might have made a really, really bad decision here. But he's not letting on about the ship, is he?
No.
Which is extremely important to the whole plot line, actually. If people are thinking I'm harping on it, I'm not. That's the food ship, right? Everybody needs the food ship. And they bring it up over and over and over again. So But one of our favorite characters, outside of everybody being mostly our favorite characters, right, is Ty. And this is what I really like about this episode. You remember one of the reasons why, whether it's this mind machine or not, what I like about what they've done here is for everybody to see how they're going to act without Adama, right? Let's see what they're going to do. I'd like that plot line. But it's a matter of how good or how well they're going to pull it off. And Ty is like, he's still the nominal president of the council, but at this point, they really don't give a damn. And Ty steps up, and I'm like, yeah,
exactly.
Who's going to be in charge? I am.
Well, he was next in line, right?
Yeah, but with Yuri being the president and Adama being incapacitated, do you remember the couple issues ago, Yuri really crapped all over Ty in front of the council, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I was pretty pissed off about it, but that was pretty good writing because it made me mad. And it's like, oh, this guy's so mean. Nobody's helping out.
Now, this last cell here in the bottom right on this page, I think is very important for a couple of reasons. One, the doctor here says perhaps even Yuri thought his way was the right one. And then is it Cassiopeia right there says, you're too forgiving, doctor. Which in a modern comic, they would say, well, everybody's right from their own point of view and have some big moral relativism in here. Right. And she has the fortitude to tell him he's full of it, that there is an objective truth in this whole thing. And, it's easy to skip over that. It is, because the mind knows that this is the correct answer on the way to do things, at least in my opinion. But in a modern comic, you wouldn't see this because just the way people feel like they have to write these days. I also love the other part here. I love the Star Trek line. If you can spot it right there, the response from the doctor.
Which one? To the right one?
Yeah, I know, Cassiopeia. That's why I'm a physician, not a warrior. Yeah, I'm a doctor, not a blank. Yes.
It's totally what Bones would say, right?
Yeah.
But you talk about somebody who's probably the busiest person in the whole fleet, except one other character, and I won't talk about him because he's actually in the next one. Is this guy? This doctor's got to be the busiest. He went from the disease to this, and he's got.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I don't know how much he's been in the loop about the politics, but they talk about a lot of different things with him there. They don't have time to worry about who's in the room sometimes, right?
Yes.
Everybody you're either with them or you're on Yuri's side or you're with our guys, right? And then the coloring is it's really distracting here, but we get our filter carb, yay! And I had mentioned that Starbuck is in this episode or in this issue, and he wasn't at all because the last one was a flashback at the robot planet. So we haven't really seen him too much lately. They talk about the Argo being missing, what are they going to do? And Ty's already taken over, and they're going to go on rationing for the whole fleet. So Ty recognizes this is bad. This is really bad. And for some reason, I'm wanting to think I might be getting my sci-fi shows mixed up of some of the food being contaminated, right? Was that?
It was in an earlier episode. That's why they went to the other planet, right?
Yeah, I want to make sure I don't get something else I was watching, and I don't even remember what that was about the cans and stuff having that weren't.
It was contaminated with something, and I forget the name of it, but that definitely was several issues ago.
Yeah, so if you want to see why they talk about the spaceships or they talk like that's Navy, is the show I was thinking about was The Terror, where they did the Northwest Passage Arctic and the food cans. Back in the 1800s, the food cans some of them were bad. So that's where I got mixed up. So they're on rationing. And we get to a pretty good Battlestar Galactica here, but it's Cylon shiny, right?
Yes. And there's also the school bus fleet or the toaster fleet. You know,
so generic. All of them look alike. It's like you got
it
one
looks
good
like
one.
Star Trek Picard. It's so generic. Yeah.
They're all shuttlecrafts here. Every last one of them is a shuttlecraft. Or a well, they're all transports, but there's no variety here. And I'm like, well, if you did that one, you could have drawn it differently. And you've got overlays from the other issues. But anyway, that's nitpicking. But everybody, JT and I have been jonesing for a really, really good full-on Battlestar Galactica. I made light of it from issue number 1. They kind of done it on the one issue, but it was only half of one. And then it's not really nitpicking for me because I want to see one.
Right.
And they still haven't really done it. Not a really great one.
I don't know if you talked about this last week, but Master Tech Shadrach, that is one of the 3. Well, they spell it with a K instead of an H. But that is one of the 3 men that were thrown into the furnace by Nebuchadnezzar in the Book of Daniel.
Oh wow!
Because they wouldn't worship a false idol. I don't know if that rings a bell for you, but that's that's a reference right there. Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, that's I found that interesting.
Very interesting
that they gave him that name. And anyway.
No, I love it. I love that kind of stuff, man. And don't ever, throw it out there. Sure. And I got my issues mixed up. So Shadrach is in this one because I was thinking ahead. Shouldn't have done that. But I always try to keep it, in line. Shadrach and him and the doctor have got this guy. If anybody's going to be busier than the doctor, it's this dude who's been trying to get all the ships to light speed, right?
Yep. So just as a reminder to folks that may not have tuned in past weeks, many of the ships are in poor shape, and not all of them can achieve light speed or greater. And so this Master Tech Shadrach is out on Adama's orders to fix up the fleet so that way they can take all the ships with them at a faster pace. And I believe Sire Yuri disagreed with that, at least at first. He wanted to maroon several of the ships and just bring who was able to go now, and was overruled at the time, which kind of led into Sire Yuri.
Adama wouldn't allow that. They were like, are you freaking crazy type of thing? Right.
So he's out here repairing the outer ship, and of course you end up seeing a glowing orb, and he does a bug to the light and can't resist reaching out to it, and he starts to scream and stuff shoots out from his eyes, and I'm sure it would have been all kinds of hilarious 1970s special effects if it was on the TV show, right?
I like this. You're like, it goes along with my, what are you going to come up with next? But if anybody's seen Space 1999, this happens. If anybody's seen a lot of sci-fi shows, this happens.
Yeah, this is a very common trope. I would be willing to bet $1,000 this is not the first time this has ever been done either, not by a long shot. It's interesting. I was always wondering, Dave, what do you think about this? Is this the natural form of this creature, or was this the last body he inhabited?
That's a fantastic take. I'm originally, I guess I'm going to go with the natural form of this thing, but it doesn't fly around like that. Probably not to scare this dude, but if you're thinking that it's a thing, kind of, I'll just say it, right? Probably not then, if you really think about it, right? I mean, what do you go with here? I
go with this was the last body he snatched or copied, right? I think that's another mirror image, and he just kind of had that one stored as the last one when he's not in orb form. But I mean, either one, I guess, technically works. I just was curious what your thoughts were
Yeah, I would have probably gone with original at first, but if you think about it, who knows how many other aliens has it done this to, right? The last one is probably good. That's a very good observation, and not a bad alien. You've just got to come up with something, right?
Right.
Yeah. And pretty freaky that it just takes the shape of this tech here. And then it's pretty brutal here, right? Just straight up murders the guy.
Yes.
That's the only way to say it. He just murders him.
I think he zaps him. I guess the shock is so great, he just kills him out there.
Yeah, he cuts he just rips his lifeline off here. What did they say? The alien imposter severs his life. Yeah, severed his lifeline or something. Yeah.
Yes.
Just murders him. What the heck? Who cares? He just didn't even leave him floating there. Just what I mean? That's pretty brutal.
Gives him a nice push.
Yeah.
Out into the void.
Just leaves him floating there.
Then he starts coming for MT Shadrach here.
Yeah, and you're thinking, okay, there's no way that they're going to take this dude out because, there's never any joy on this show. And if they're in these comics now, and what do we say about having any kind of fun or joy? It doesn't last long. And They're not having any joy now. So I like this double plot line a little bit with Adama, triple or quadruple plot line. If you think about it, are they even out of the void yet? I can't even remember. Right?
They're in the void.
They're still in the void.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for everybody, yeah, they're still in the void. You got the Cylons somewhere. You got Adama in the thing with Yuri trying to murder him. And now, unbeknownst to them, you've got this murderous rampage, this murderous alien thing who can mimic people. And he's getting ready to take out undoubtedly one of the most important people at the top of the list of the whole fleet right now.
Right.
Besides the Doctor and Colonel Ty, really, at this point. Or I always forget that. I think it's Commander or Colonel Ty. There's a little talk here. Not too much going on. They're just hanging out, talking about what's going on, the rationing and the ship that's missing and the art. You know what I caught wind of here is this might be nitpicking is Starbuck's hair. He's got a bad bob cut, kind of. I don't. You know what I mean? This one in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't. It's way too long in the back. Whatever. It's nitpicky, but I just noticed it, so I can't help it. Everybody, what do you guys think? This middle panel is, it's the coloring, right? I guess it's not the colors. It's just, like the one to the right, this purple, just.
There's a lot of different hues that are used than in earlier issues. Yeah.
Yeah. Starbuck to the left here is okay because so he's eating, and then I don't know who this is in the left talking to him, some lady. You mean strict rationing? He's like, boom. So it's a little humor there, right?
It's Chief Edic.
Is that who it is? I couldn't remember.
If you scroll up just a little bit, the last pane in the bottom right of the previous page has the chief's name.
I totally. Oh, that's right. Good call. How long can we last with rationing? Chief Edic.
Edic. I don't know. How you?
Yeah, so a little bit of humor here. So I give them credit on that. Then it goes from good to just Apollo and them. I like this humor that the camaraderie between everybody. Apollo takes a jab. It's Starbuck here. He goes, "Oh, I can see some people will have trouble adjusting to rationing." You see what I mean?
Yep.
So I give him total props for maintaining that, which is
real quick. Hail the Dad Man, walking 55.
Oh,
great to see you.
Hey, Dad Man.
He's just dropping by.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for coming by.
Do you mind if I drop his channel in real quick?
You never have to ask, man. You go right ahead and do it.
All right.
Because I was going to do it. Go ahead. Never have to ask permission for anything like that. Yep, I appreciate it. Thanks, Ed, man, for stopping by. And then we get to, which is kind of funny. Boxy and Muffet are here, but I'll get into the good part. There's some more humor, but I wasn't sure if it was intentional by the writers that it fell into place that he was hiding stuff, or Uncle Starbuck, right? Intentionally hid it behind his back because he knew they were back there to give it to Boxy, right?
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Sure, he did that intentionally.
Yeah, so so that's really good writing if they meant to, or they was like, well, we'll have Starbuck hide it behind his back, and then they're like, oh, well, why don't we add it? Either way, it's funny because he does give it to Boxy, and there's that weird ass haircut again on Boxy and Muffet there.
His head's floating, doesn't it look like that?
It's floating. That haircut is ridiculous. Starbucks hair. I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
Is that 70s hair for kids? Is that a common haircut from the era?
Well, I had terrible hair, but I didn't. It's like old English bob. I don't know. Somebody help me or yell at me for saying that. But the face and the body, it's just bad. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
My question is, isn't this fake dog a robot? This Daggett?
Yeah.
Why are we feeding it food?
That's just like Mark said. They got to have the cuteness with them in the show, in the comics.
Okay,
right? It's there for their sake. And Boxy's always going to treat Muffy as a real dog, and we'll see more of that later, actually, with Muffet, right? Mm-hmm. Doing things that. Well, I won't say too much because they actually explain it later after I went on a tangent to myself after reading it.
Hey, J-Man. How's it going?
Hey, J-Man. Yeah. Link him up too. Definitely.
Yeah. He's been putting out a lot of content lately.
God, you and Sean killing it, man. I'm going to have to write this down to keep up with you guys. You guys are killing it on the comic side, everybody. If you love comics, get up with J-Man and his our friend Sean, Decepticon, in J-Man's channel. And I thank J-Man because he helped me out a lot as well on how to set this whole thing up, really. J-Man helped me out on that, so thank you for that. And
this shot here, it reminds me of Wrath of Khan, but this predates Wrath of Khan, when Scotty's holding the remnant of the trainee, the deceased trainee, which I believe was his nephew that he was holding. You remember that in Wrath of Khan?
I'm not going to BS you, so I know I'm trying to remember. I can't.
It's right after the Reliant does the surprise attack and fires on the engineering section and damages it, and a bunch of the trainees are deleted.
Yeah, and BSG gets a lot of flack for copying other people as well, right? Star Wars especially, right? At least from the original movie.
Right.
And
anyway, it just reminds me of that. It's the same, similar type of thing here. Then they're asking what happened to the tech. Then Whitaker came at me with a laser torch.
Yeah, well,
they don't know how he died. Blah blah blah.
Well, they come into this but the general laughter subsides, right? I told you, you can't have fun on this ship. If anybody laughed, I would just stop, because that means it's going to get worse. You can't have fun. There's just no way. There's no moment's peace for these people. And he comes into, what did they call that? Was that he just walks in from an airlock, right?
Yeah.
Now this is nitpicky, but he's standing there with space behind him, right? And he doesn't have a helmet or anything, but I guess that's really, really nitpicky.
That's just the way the room is colored. If you look in the next one down, three of the walls are black as well.
Yeah, and we've touched on that before, the heavy use of black in the background, and every now and then they put stars, and sometimes they don't. To save on ink, really, I think. But Shadrach is a complete badass here, because you thought, well, what happened? Well, obviously Shadrach turned around.
Oh yeah, he hit him with the wrench.
Yeah, and he straight up said, "This dude tried to murder me."
Yeah,
and like Shadrach's a badass here, dude. And he's just carrying this guy like it's nothing. He hasn't even put him down yet. And he tells him what happened, and there's a little bit of a back scene, which is great because now you know what happened.
Well, and he says that it shows that he's dead, but it also shows that he was never alive. I don't know how that's possible, but hey.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit confusing here because the back flash, or not even a back flash, he's telling him, I guess it's a back flash, whatever, that he came at him with his laser torch, but Shadrach got turned and clipped him, and this is funny though. He folded like a marionette whose strings have been cut.
Oh yeah.
So Shadrach's talking trash too. I like it. You know what I mean? That's good writing. It's funny. Yeah, they fold. I can see this in a Scottish accent. They fold it like a marionette. But anyway,
what I don't understand is why they have the kid and the dog in the autopsy.
Well, that's a great observation again, because we've brought this up before, right? That this ship is huge, is it not?
Yes.
It's the biggest ship in the fleet by far, except, maybe actually the aggro ship. To be honest with you, there may be some other. There's nothing, unless there's a huge transport. You know what I mean? But it's a massive. It's a Battlestar, and you're so right. Boxy and Muffet just happen to be places, kind of for no apparent reason, right?
Yeah.
I brought that up with other characters, like how the heck did they get there? What? You know what I mean? But it's the right,
they were conveniently walking by.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah, I think wasn't Apollo running down a hall, or Starbuck was running down the hall with that one lady that was what do we call her? Oh gosh, what do you call those type workers in the comic? I can't remember now. It's a really funny term, but and there they were, right? They were just standing there. So you're right. They're like, wait, this mine's dead, and they're like, oh geez, what? Oh my gosh, And Shadrach's feeling pretty bad here. He's like, oh my god, I didn't know if I killed him. Like, it's not your problem. Oh wait, no, sorry, it's not your fault. But the doctor's acting a little weird. He's like, well, it wasn't from the wrench. And like, oh, it wasn't. Okay, well, let's do an autopsy or whatever the doctor's going to do. But is this a different doctor with the white hair than the bald-headed Ming-looking guy, right?
I don't know if it matters. Honestly, I mean, they don't name the doctors, so they just call them doctor.
I'm thinking this is the head guy, right? And the other dude who's in the mind chamber with watching over Adama is just another different doctor. Well, he has to be, according to this, because the other guy looks like me a little bit. So the doctor's like, something's wrong with this dude. This doesn't look right. He was never alive. So this doctor, he's not ringing any alarm bells after everything that's going on, because obviously he doesn't know what's getting ready to happen. And then this thing exposes himself. Sorry. Jumps out or whatever and transforms into the Doc. And he goes, I'm a space mimic. Like a old classic evil ha 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 type of space villain, right?
Yeah, this is like the classic vampire type thing here, but he's saying, I had the records that he was alive, so what the heck? And something is completely off, and then dun dun dun, and then instead of, so he directly copies him, and he also gets some of the memories and knowledge. So now we know that this is just going to be a body double thing from here on to the end of the comic, right? Like we know they're gonna win. They're gonna get past this. At this point, I think you could almost skip to the last page, and unfortunately, you don't miss much here.
Yeah, you don't.
In my opinion,
there's Boxy again. So this is what I was talking about. The Daggett senses something, and of course, Boxy's like, "Oh, the Daggett, Muffy. What's wrong with Muffy?" And I'm thinking, okay, it's the technology in this time era would have been billions of whatever ahead of us, right? Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But the Muffet was just hastily put together, remember, just kind of put together, and it has senses. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But this would have been a great thing for Mark to touch on again. Yeah, I got to put it in there, right? Oh, it's cute that the Muffet knows something's wrong in a different room. Okay. Yeah. We'll go with it. And they're like, "Dead man, oh, what's going on?" So let's go back and open the door because the Muffet said so. And why would a corpse bother a Daggett? So she even says it, right? And I'm like, yeah. But like I said, we'll go with it. And they catch Dr. Spang about to be murdered. This alien is just brutal, right?
Yes.
They say he's about to be murdered. I'm assuming that he is because he already did it once. And just left a guy, like you said, just floating around space. It's sick, brutal, right?
Yeah.
So this thing just doesn't give a, what.
Right. Throws a bunch of stuff around the room, gives them an opportunity to pull out their blasters, right? And
yeah, Starbuck shoots this fairly large piece of equipment that's hurtling at them
because it's so replaceable, right?
Right. And I'm thinking, okay, so this thing is pretty damn strong, right? Or that's not as heavy as it looks. But anyway, Starbuck, as we know, and I'm going to touch on something here about the comics and the TV show. Apollo and Starbuck both blast this thing that fast, right?
Yes.
So look how close it is. That's how quick they are with the pistol. And maybe you're catching on to what I'm going to say about the TV series. One of the next episodes was Red Eye. I think that's the title of it. I'm not normally good remembering all that kind of stuff, but Apollo, spoiler alert to everybody for the TV show, he gets down on the planet and has an old school Western shootout with the Cylon. Remember that?
Yes. Yes.
So their pistol drawing skills are really, really good. Yeah, he has quick hands in more ways than one, right? And Socialator, I put it up for everybody, but thank you, buddy. Call them Socialators. And Apollo gives a little thing to Athena. So the humor here is so good in this episode or this comic up till now, right? That she says, "That's not Dr. Spang," and Apollo's like, "Yeah, no shit."
And of course, they do the other trope that's in here. We're going to let the bad guy get away instead of chasing him down, so we can see if this person's all right, even though they aren't going to do anything for him. That can't wait a couple minutes, So of course, the enemy gets away.
Yeah, and you have no idea which way he ran. We'll just assume the opposite way. Okay. And they repeat the fact that it's not the doctor that got away, and this is the real doctor because he's cold, and that's what the other dude had said. It's like, oh, okay, we know. And then the Daggett picks up the scent. he's a Now he's a tracking dog.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we'll go with it. That's going to be my theme for the night for this part, right? Don't have a choice.
Yes. Unfortunately.
But what'd you think about it?
I was annoyed.
Thank you. So was I.
So then obviously here we're going to start seeing him switching bodies. So Boomer walks up to him, says, hey, something looks a little off. Before he can do anything, the creature, the entity, touches Boomer, takes over his appearance, stuns him. Boomer doesn't have any time to react.
Yeah, and I guess you're a little tense when you're a kid. Like here, obviously we know what happens afterward, but knowing this murderous alien, you're like, you better not murder Boomer, right? This isn't The Walking Dead where you murder everybody, right?
Right.
It could have happened, but you're like, nah, I'm not gonna murder Boomer. No way, right?
Right.
But it is a little, at least it was for me when I first read it. It was like, no, man. So I'll give them credit. They got me that way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. That's good on them.
So then he magically or conveniently comes upon the medical chamber with Commander Adama in it.
I like how you said that, dude. Sorry, that was good.
Then he body swaps again. And I think he just leaves them instead of murdering them because it takes less time. And then it slows them down. So they have to check on everybody every single time. But the goal is to swap as many bodies as possible. So that way people don't know who's whom. Yeah.
Obviously, this thing knows what it's doing. It's not like the first time, right?
Right.
Because it's just run, snatch somebody else. Someone snatch it. Like you said, just keep doing it until they just lose track. But like you said, conveniently, plot driven, like I said, got to keep it going. He's in the chamber with Adama.
Yep. So then, let's see. They catch up.
Buddy Epper. Sorry, you're gonna like this one.
Yeah, exactly. I want your salt.
I almost ordered that Migo one from Amazon when I got the Gorn. But yeah, they've got a cool Migo one for that character.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the salt monster. Yeah,
nice.
I don't know why I didn't buy it. I should have just bought it, but I don't know. But good call, man. Good call.
So then it tries to fake him out by saying that Cassiopeia knocked out the imposter. But of course, the dog is here, Muffy, to save the day. And,
the tracking bloodhound.
Mm-hmm. Like you could even just look at these pictures and you don't even need any of the text. You just, what's going on. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of text. You're absolutely right. It's just too much. There's not enough action for us. We know what's up. They don't need any of this except maybe Starbucks saying, Nurse Cassiopeia. Oh, there's two of them. Yeah, we see that. Right?
Yeah. So then, of course, the dog sniffs the good one, attacks the bad one, gets yeeted. The dog yipes. Then there's a shooting match that starts.
Yeah, it feels pain.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently.
So then they try to shut the lights off, and this looks like, is it Starbuck?
Where am I at? Let's see.
Just a little bit lower.
Just reading a little bit here to make sure I don't go. Okay, yep, got that. We're just going at it. The lights are off. That's right. Of course, Starbuck has a light. He always has a light for his cigar, right?
Yeah. I'm like, that's an impressive lighter if you can actually see with that thing.
Well, it looks like a car lighter.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Old school 1987 Camaro.
Yeah.
Pushing.
Well, it's in his Viper, so he can smoke in his Viper, right?
Right, which you brought up before. You remember? Oh.
Buddy Hepburn says, well, if a Tribble can spot a Klingon, but a Tribble's a real creature. Or I don't want to say real. They're both fictitious, but it's an organic being that's alive versus a robot.
Yeah, but knowing the difference between a good person and, quote, bad Klingon. Yeah, I get your point. That's but it's annoying that the Muppet is like feels pain and is all of a sudden a bloodhound. Now I might have missed it. They do kind of explain it, but at that point I didn't care. It was really kind of ridiculous. But
right. So then we have here for the comedic effect, Sire Yuri comes in, demands to know what's going on.
But wasn't he supposed to be under guard at this point somewhere?
Sire Yuri? No.
Yeah, he was under like house arrest or something from Commander Ty.
He was able to walk around.
Okay, so that's why she said he got off easy. I thought it meant that they just didn't throw him out the airlock type, get off easy. That they at least I thought Ty. Okay, I'm glad you clarified that. I want to go back.
And he's here, and Yuri's here saying, "How did Adama get out?" And then he's like, "Well, wait a minute, he's still in there."
Nice.
Oh wait, the mimic
twist.
Touched him somehow through this tank and the spacesuit. Somehow became Adama. I'm not going to think about that too hard.
I'm not either. It could have been left out that we already know that this thing is running around, switching to people. He could have gone to somebody who was Commander Ty. It could have been anybody. Jolly kept going back and forth. Not to drag it out too much, but
this you kind of raise your fist up and shout, and they're like, "Yeah," because they knocked over Yuri like you wanted it done. Like 3 issues ago, and they do it, and so you're feeling like, heck yeah, let's go.
It's almost the way Starbuck has his, let's say, right hand down. It's almost like he gave him a good right cross there on the way out.
Right.
And I would have liked to have seen Starbuck kind of give a little laugh there. You know what I mean? You was in my way there, man. And then give him a good right cross.
Yeah. Ty turns off the sensors in the ship too. Like, that was a little weird. He didn't ask any questions of Adama, who just came out of nothing.
Right. Say that again. Repeat that whole thing all over again for everybody to get the context of what you just said.
Sure. So they run onto the bridge. There's Colonel Ty.
Yep.
And they're asking if they can find him on sensors. So then Ty says, "No, Adama told me to turn off the sensors."
Dun dun dun.
Why? You just
did
that?
Going on,
I mean,
JT?
Adama just got out of the tank and he just walks over and says, "Turn off these sensors."
So this issue just almost gets a very bad grade. What in the hell? You think you're gonna pull this over on Ty for no reason? That he's had to take over the whole fleet, put Yuri in his place, all the stuff that's going on, and Adama's just standing there and he doesn't question it.
Yeah.
He doesn't get Apollo and oh my God, Apollo, Starbuck, Commander Adama, are you okay? Where's the doctor? Where's Cassiopeia? And all this is going on, and Ty happens to be right there and didn't know. I guess he's farther down let's just assume that he's farther down, but you nailed it. They really screwed the pooch on this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can try to wrap yourself around the fact that of all people, Ty, it wasn't like it was Jolly or somebody else standing there going, "Oh my God, how you doing? Yeah, just do this for me, Jolly. It's an order." Oh, okay. Ty wouldn't have done that. He would have been, "Wait, what? You want me to do what? I just saw you." You know what I mean? So I'm glad you said that, because this is pretty bad on my part, or what I think anyway, that they did that. But anyway, that's my take on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they even bring it up.
Mm-hmm. So the next scene here, what's going on here is the alien is starting to weaken or go scatterbrained because Adama's memories are quote unquote so strong. So the next few frames, there's a lot of text. Basically, he starts getting flashbacks of the memories that he took or copied from Adama. And so he's just having these flashbacks, and I think it's left up to think that he's kind of stumbling around the ship or unable to really go anywhere because he's stuck in these memories that he inherited.
He's getting overloaded, I guess.
Yeah. And then you have like a really big, stereotypical comic close-up of the alien Adama's face. That totally doesn't really go with what we've ever seen before in the comics.
That's stressed out.
Yes.
That's a stressed alien right there. And I guess that's sweat. He's sweating. The alien sweating. Which is good, I guess, right? Because it's going to show that and it says I'm absorbing too much, but in this thing's desperation in this middle panel, do you not notice something in this panel that this thing is so desperate? It would have come to my attention if I was this thing. Okay, I have to stay in this body because this is the commander and I can take over the ship, but it's not working out right now.
Right.
So it recognizes that, but you got all these people right next to it.
That's the memory.
He could have grabbed.
That's the memory.
Well, I would have thought that, except there's this couple walking down the aisle, this redhead right here. Mm-hmm. So they're right next to him. But I guess you're right. He's just freaking out too much to even concentrate on grabbing somebody else.
So this is the memory. This is the memory. Yes.
Okay.
Those two frames are the memory that's flooding his mind.
Okay. I totally missed that then.
Easy to do here.
Yeah. I'm sorry for scrolling up a little bit because I'm trying to get the context, but yeah, JT, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the memory. Okay. For the Cylon treachery okay. So they're talking. Okay.
So they made a critical mistake here in the alien did, not they. The alien made a critical mistake by picking probably the most recognizable face on the Galactica, because all they have to do is start asking people, where did the commander go? Have you seen the commander go this way? If he had been Cassiopeia, well, even anybody. Then, did you see an attractive blonde go this way? Oh, that way, right? But Boomer may have been able to fly under the radar. Forgive the pun, but there's plenty of other people that he could have touched in between then and now and had more subterfuge. So they catch up with him again because, of course, they do. And then if you keep scrolling down, this next part here is pretty busy, but basically this alien has succumbed to Adama's personality and memories entirely. So he's like getting torn apart, thinking that Athena and Apollo rather are Athena and Apollo, like he is actually their father, and it's like saying I love you and all this other stuff. And it's like in the next one, you love me, hate me, love me, hate me. I'm Adama, I'm not Adama. He's going insane.
Yeah, and the scene is set up that this alien in front of them is making a really big visual deal. It's hard to explain it. So this thing is just really freaking out. And so you can imagine a movie scene where this thing is just like, we're doing whatever. And to the point that even Starbuck drops a good one here. Oh, frack. So we get Starbuck saying frack again, right? With his bob cut there. And then, like you're saying, love me, hate me. This thing can't deal with it. It can't. So it's showing the power of Adama's family values, right? His love for his family, and even Starbuck here, which I like a lot. Remember what I always say about the Starbuck too is you got to keep Starbuck in it, right? Got to keep that lore. He cares for Starbuck just as much as he does anybody else. up to, outside of family, but he considers them family. And then you get the end here. The alien keeps freaking out, right? And just explodes. But it looks like he gets a pop shot off too.
Kind of, yeah, but he shatters. Yeah.
He just shatters. He doesn't delete himself because he's got the laser, the hand cannon pointing outward, and it actually fires off one round. I was like, what do you do? Why would you have it? But anyway, because I thought maybe it hit somebody on his way out, right? But just for plot sake. But he blows up,
which would have been fun, but no.
Yeah, because you wouldn't have known who he hit, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh my God, who did he hit? And he succumbs, like you said, to all these emotions and just explodes.
Right.
And you get a frack and a filter carb from Starbuck all in the same issue. And Apollo has to reiterate everything again, I guess. Had to absorb the life essences of others, which tracks along with the sci-fi narrative of this whole thing and a lot of other shows. And just keeps dwelling on the fact that, he became my father and got possessed and couldn't handle it. Makes his dad say that he's, like his dad has the inability to do evil. I would say, well, your dad's still human, but yeah, we get the point, right?
Yeah, and I thought this was an interesting theme to end on the last page of the comic here before the bulletin. Just a theme of, or an idea of nature versus nurture, good versus evil on this. I thought it was interesting that even though he copied Adama, he copied more than just the physical appearance. And so I was wondering, well, did he copy that it was not in Adama's nature, that it was impossible for Adama to be as evil as the alien, or was it the nurture and the cultivation of personality and morality on that? Whatever it was that he copied, it was that this alien couldn't live with that duality of good versus evil in one, and the alien destroyed itself, which I guess is kind of a Book of Revelation thing in there too. There's a lot of interesting ways to think about this alien and what the alien represents and all of that at the end, that I don't know if a 10-year-old is going to read it even think about,
it's
right?
A little deep here for a kid, right? But your morality, responsibility, Apollo gives this whole speech on this last 3 frames here about everything that you just said. That's good stuff. And then overwhelming love, he says here, that the alien, he didn't attack any of them. So they went with exactly, again, right, what you said, morality, and obviously they did here too, right? That was the whole point of it. He did know who Adama was, although we both agree how it happened. Whatever, we'll get to that in a minute, I guess. But it took him a little while to get those emotional things, because he was switching bodies so fast, right? Like from the beginning, he knew it was necessary to act like that because he did not get a hold of Shadrach, right? He didn't kill Shadrach, and he got knocked out. So that consciousness was stuck in that body, right?
Yeah.
Until he woke up or whatever. But that was all kind of weird because he was playing dead at first, right? You kind of missed that subcontext there, right? Did he hit him with the thing?
Right.
Was he playing dead? But that's all after effects. So he knew who Adama was. He knows who everybody is immediately because he says, "Oh, this dude's the captain of the ship. I gotta stick with this guy." And then it slowly got on him, like the absence of love and morality for everybody else wasn't enough as much as Adama's. But we couldn't get into all that. So It is an interesting plot line. I guess it's a good way to just end the issue without him trying to attack somebody and they kill it, right? Finding out a way to kill it. They could have taken that angle too, but it's the lore of each of the characters, right? Like Starbuck's lore, Adama's lore, and it kind of ties into the fact that with him being gone, you're missing out on all of this, and everybody else has to step up to the plate, right?
Right. And I also found this interesting that they picked Adama, because the way that they had decided for the alien to meet its demise was by morality, being victorious over immorality, good triumphing over evil, and I guess love over hate, if you really want to look at the last little blurb there. But I think morality and responsibility and good over evil is the main part there, which is why they chose Adama. If he had been the doctor, if he had stayed as Dr. Sprang, I think it was interesting that they showed him being possessed because he was not strong enough morally to fight this alien, to resist this alien, right? Not to say that Boomer wasn't or Cassiopeia wasn't,
right? Exactly.
But the doctor especially was not. And I think that the alien was intending to stay with the doctor. And we had that comment that I mentioned before, where he was talking about Sire Yuri, saying, well, maybe he was thinking he was doing the right thing too. I don't want to read too much into that, but I just think it is a nice way to think about, well, the doctor did not have strong morals, and he was a moral relativist, and
that's what I'm
was unable to stop the alien there.
Yeah, I don't think any of them could have stopped them based on that immediately. You know, if that thing grabs you, I think you're screwed. You know what I mean? I don't think any human being walking the face of the earth, outside of religious beliefs, right, could have been that moral that as soon as it grabs you, it's like, oh no, not you. Right. If it wants you, it grabs you, and then it has to deal with you, because you got to remember, this thing is a murderous, evil thing, right? At least on human terms, right? It'll kill you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care. It has no moral compass as to murdering human beings, right? If it wants to stay in you, it will. If not, it's going to just, and if it does, it's just going to, would you say, float him out into space or just get rid of you?
Right.
You know, because it understands, what I didn't understand is that what are you going to do? Stuff the body down in a closet or something? You know, you're just going to leave a trail of bodies, you know? But I guess, hey, that's what it does. So then we get to the bulletins that you had mentioned that the show got canceled.
Yes. It did. By the time that, before this issue came out, because by probably a few months, right? Because it takes time for people to get the issue, read it, write a letter in, have it get mailed, read, get picked, selected, then have a response written, then get it published in. So it took a few months to get this back, but they tried to do a letter writing campaign.
Yeah. This guy here, Russell Reeves, writes, I want to thank you for number 5. So that's what you're saying. It took 4 issues to get it in. And it was the only show I missed thanks to the comic. So there were a lot of people who were conflicted on whether or not they wanted to stay the route of the show or not. In my case, it would have been, I would have liked to have seen both. Yeah, whatever. But they're not going to do that. So
yeah, I don't think it would have been workable. I think it would have been too confusing for people.
It would have totally been too confusing for people, because this is 40, 50 years later, right? 40 years later, 40 plus. And this guy says, I think adopting the show in comic form is great. We've seen this from other people, but there never seems to be any conflict. There is some conflict over here in the right column. We won't touch on it too much because they're just talking about the same thing with some people who don't like it. just to give some context. I goes, I hope the cancellation doesn't affect the comic. And then he wants to file a complaint to ABC. Like you said,
Yes.
people are pissed. A lot of people were pissed that the show was canceled. When I was little, I was like, what happened to the show? And of course, I didn't understand production and money, and they just do things like this for sometimes nefarious reasons,
legal
but
reasons,
mostly
and all
legal
of that
reasons,
too. Mm-hmm.
Or just plain money, right? I don't remember how much was going on back in the day that they couldn't have continued to show another season, being it was so popular, but I guess they didn't think it was that popular. They give the address here. Another person puts it in for everybody to go write complaints.
Right.
In the next letter. And he's talking all the way back to number 2, which I think it was 2 or 3. One we liked, one I didn't like. Can't remember now. should keep my notes, but and he says, well, I'm kind of interested now. Everybody who knows the show's canceled, they don't have a choice now, right, JT? Everybody,
right?
It's either they continue the comics or they don't. So I think in here somewhere, because I don't want to dwell on it too much, so we can get into the next one, is that they say, hey, we don't really have a choice either, but we're kind of glad that we went off on our own thing before it happened. Whether they knew or not remains to be seen, but I like to stick with the fact that they didn't know, right? Because like you said, it takes a couple issues to get these kind of letters in.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's another one saying 5 or 6, I can't tell there, was fantastic. And they touch on that the other major active roles for different characters instead of focusing only on certain people, which is exactly what I was saying about this issue. The one part I liked, whether it was the Mind Machine, which is a little, kind of odd, like you don't like that one too much, that premise of it. But I always like the fact that they went on their own. Dama is stuck, and everybody else has to step up to the plate. All right. So overall, or any comments about these letters, or before we do our overalls on this one?
No, I think we covered the important letter. The rest of them, they're a little less. It's just, yeah. I don't really care if they're saying, is Voltar dead? Is he not dead? Because we're going to read past it. So a lot of this stuff is written to keep suspense in there, which we don't need because we have all of the comics now. Right. So
right. Exactly. And I wanted to touch on the grade on this one now. But I'll try not to forget, I'm going to take a little note so I don't forget. I did it before, but I just want to reiterate it. So, because I really wanted to kind of bash one part on it. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Shall we go on to 10?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. So that's all and done. And they do a complete ending to that episode. There's no hanger-ons, right? There's no cliffhangers for it other than what's going on generally.
Well, Adama's still in the memory device.
Yep. He's still in the memory device.
We're still missing the Agra ship.
Yep.
Yuri's still a D-bag.
Yep. And there's the whole Void thing, but there's this cover. Oof, boy. What do you think?
I don't like the taglines that keep ruining the whole comic. Yeah. This title is a huge spoiler, folks. If you've never read this, well, sorry. The cover page spoiled it for you. Which is a shame because I love this cover. I don't know if you did or not, but I love it. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I only had one problem. Just one.
Mm-hmm.
It's that Apollo's looks like he's floating in space without a suit. He's just in his Viper helmet. It doesn't like.
You think so? I think he's got a good spacesuit going on.
Well, no, I mean, he's just in. He doesn't have a spacesuit on at all.
Oh, you're just saying he's in his fighter pilot.
He's just in. Yeah, he's. His
oh,
hands,
I see what you mean.
Yeah, I don't know why I caught on to that. I just did, and once I can't unsee that. And knowing what I know later, but you wouldn't know that, right, if you hadn't read it before. So as far as and the Viper down here, if you notice. Other than that, the cover's great because I love Vipers, and the more they put out, at least decent ones, I love it.
The stars in the background, the space looks amazing.
Yeah, the stars, the planets in the back, that's really cool.
These worm-like tendrils are very disgusting looking.
Yeah,
which I think is great because then you get an emotion when in a sensation when you look at it.
Yeah, and I can't tell you much more than I don't like this one Starbuck thing, not the art. Everything else is great, right? It looks awesome. His face looks great here. We get that red fighter helmet, and we all know now we know that's not the right color, but it looks great here. Like was Ironcaster said he loved it back in the day, right? All the way back to the first issue. But did you notice what's up with this fighter pilot here? I mean, this fighter here. I'm going to put it right here in the middle because it goes along with what I was saying. So I'm nitpicking, but I'm not really nitpicking because they have it here. I'm not nitpicking for a reason. This is why
I'm not seeing it. I give up.
Okay, so look at the cockpit.
Yeah.
Look where the cockpit is. The cover.
Okay. Yeah, it's being ripped off.
It's being ripped off, and he's being dragged out of the Viper in space. So there was a reason why I said I didn't like it, not only because he was there floating around and they weren't paying attention as like a shock value. They did that on purpose. See what I'm saying? That the thing rips him out of the pilot in space.
Yeah, I guess I just don't have a problem with it.
No. It's
you picked more nits than I have for once because I'm usually the nitpicker.
To defend my own nitpicking on a cover, which I like this. I like the actual scene of him being strangled and all this kind of thing. I like that. And then when I saw that, I was like, well, wait, okay. They did that. I didn't come up with that. That he's always floating in space, and I'm kind of being a jerk about it, right? They actually showed it. So I just wanted to point that out. To you and everybody else that it's not nitpicking so much as like, well, hey, they did it, right? So I'm kind of trying to defend myself a little bit, but it's a great cover. It's a good cover. I mean, I like it, and you like it as well, right? So, I mean, the colors are great, the action, you get a lot going on here, and then this planet monster. But the title, like you said, is come on, man, don't ruin it. That's the complete. Yeah. Right.
Now, I do want to say this next page, 10 out of 10. Beautiful.
Dun, dun, dun.
I think you can make a print of this and sell it.
Oh, dude,
right?
What have we been waiting for 10 issues?
Yeah.
Come on, man. What did I say going all the way back to the first freaking issue? It's called Battlestar Galactica. The whole show, the movie, the comic books, everything is called what? Battlestar Galactica. And it finally took a whole
10
splash page, 10 issues, 9 plus this one, to get a good look, even though the angle isn't what I would say, but hey, who cares? They've got the detail on it. It's not a shiny Cylon helmet look. It's got a good angle. You've got the Vipers. Remember what I said? Vipers coming into the landing area, the dock, right?
Yep.
And we finally get it, JT. Damn.
And the colors are great. Just the words on it are great. You have the, because it's a splash page, you have the title up above.
Yeah.
Out of all the pages we've done to date, this would be the first one that I would make into a poster.
Yeah, and since I X'd out of the number 9 issue, I had to pull up the get my old man glasses here, everybody. the people. So,
Words,
Jason,
Tom
and Shooter.
DeFalco, Pat Broderick, Barreto and Marcos, John Costanza, Ben Sean, which I believe was a different one from the last one. Yeah, I have to pull up 9 again as well.
Yeah, they're all different. Except Costanza, who lettering would have been somebody else. So he's the only one I see. The Milgram I know I've heard of through other people's channels like Nick Weiser and Clobby and Hungry Boy and stuff like that. Jim Shooter is the only one, and Jim Shooter tries to be a little funny here. He starts doing this kind of thing. Look what he puts underneath his name here in 10. Paychecks. Yeah.
Well, in the last one, he's the commander.
Yeah, you have a good memory. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at it. So
yeah, but then here he calls Alan Milgram editing, and the other one he called him overseer.
Yes.
So he tries to be a little funny, and that's great. That's fine.
Bill Mantlo is the scribe in the last one, and he's not in this one at all. So
yeah, so the only
Tom
one
Falco
in here
is changed.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Costanza. And he co-lettered on the last one with another guy, with Tanabe. But we get this, and you notice that there's no stars here.
Not George Costanza, John Costanza.
John Costanza, yeah.
No relation to George.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
They do some boxing here because it's a setup. Luck. They talk about luck here. I like it because how lucky they've been, very lucky, right? But they've also been very good at what they do, and that they've also have been good that they followed Adama as well, right?
Yeah. Now, question for you. Well, go ahead. Keep going.
No, go.
Sorry.
Go.
I was looking ahead too far. Keep going.
Well, other than going into the void and finding Cobalt, right? If I got that right, forgive me if I got that wrong.
Yes, you did.
That you can consider luck, because you and I really touched on the fact that, I mean, it's a comic book. We can't harp on all these things when you're 8 or 9 or 10 when you're reading these kind of things. It's all for fun. But sometimes they don't make sense, because you could have gone left, you could have gone right. And the Cylons were tracking them. We never really figure out how. But luck, I like how they kind of said, luck has got a lot to do with what's going on here. It also has a lot to do with that they're good at what they do, right?
Right. Yeah.
What were you going to say right before that?
So on the next page here, right in the first cell.
I know. I like this page though, man.
I do. I know it's hard to leave. I've
been jonesing it for so long. Now, could I even say it could be better? Only on a different angle. But who cares? Who cares, Dave? Right? People are like, dude, come on. And I know, I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay.
Also, I wanted to note here, they finally say no similarity between any of the names, characters, persons, or institutions in this magazine with those of any living or dead persons or institution is intended. Any such similarity is purely coincidental. So they do not want to pay the actors for likeness at this point.
Yeah, and we touched on that a bunch of times. I think it was Buddy or, and forgive me, guys, if I don't remember, going all the way back to the one who brought it up in chat as well. I think it was first or second week we did this with Ironcaster and Mark talking about likeness. I think Mark brought it up, and people in the chat, and you brought it up as well, right? That it could have been a copyright issue actually based on their face. And where's Dadman at when we want to talk about NIL and college sports, right?
Exactly.
So Dadman, if you're listening, look at this crap. This is why the chat and people and having you on is so awesome. And Mark and everybody else. Man, if Hungry and Clobby could have been here, right? To talk about that kind of thing, because they were so freaking out. And Nick, if you're out there lurking, he would know about some of this, I think. And a lot of the guys, all the people that we know, probably Andrew Teague, Admiral Teague would know probably stuff like about this kind of stuff. I can give a shout out to him. If you want to plug his channel, feel free. You can plug all day long, man.
Sure.
We've touched that on a lot, especially about the artwork, right? But my point, because I'm going to go off a little bit, not too long, because people are watching, but these are very important things when we do reviews, and it depends on us on how deep we want to get into it, right?
Yep.
And so if you're going to like the art or not like the art, and you and I and everybody else, we go back and forth on it because it's their comic, and we love some of it. We absolutely hate some of it. I went on a tangent on something about last week, but it wasn't art. So yeah, I was really mad about something they did in the last one. Like really mad. But I'm glad you brought that up to kind of reiterate the fact that it helps us when people are watching us, that you get some context on why these faces don't look better. It's either talent or they have to be careful about it. Especially what did somebody say? Especially Adama. Were you here for that one? That somebody said they thought that Adama was that Mark going way back, that they really thought that they had to be careful with Adama for some reason. Somebody was talking about that.
It sounds like something he would say. Yeah.
Okay, so to get us back on track, I like the landing scene here. I always like that when they do different angles going out, and then the landing like that. Although I don't know how wide those shuttle bays are that all three would land at the same time. Right. I guess they would. I guess they would.
Are.
They would.
But it says now. Here's where my issue comes in. They go into the landing bay, but they show them like this isn't a vacuum still, but they are automatically cleansed and decontaminated by sonic waves.
Yes, I'm glad you caught that. Thank you.
And I said, but they're still in space.
Is that like a Star Wars thing where they come through and then you can land and then you can walk, and they have, you know,
well, they would have to have like a
the
force
Death Star
field.
was, right? The force fields. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we know that in the show and on here, they jump right out of the Vipers, because I don't know if it was last week or the week before. One of the things I did get upset with them was that Starbuck blasted off with people sitting right there. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what? Oh, come on, guys. That's just freaking common sense. Starbuck would have never done that with people standing there, because they have to go into the tubes too, right?
Yes, they do. The launch tubes.
Have you noticed they don't really do launch tubes here?
Yeah.
I don't know if nobody cares, but they do the landing scenes, but they never do the tubes. Not that I can remember. Just something I'm not going to nitpick on it. I'm just saying that they don't do it. Right. They do one, I think that's kind of, I might be wrong, first or second issue, maybe. They don't have to. We already know what's up. So, yeah, that's a very important thing that you said, isn't it? Because of something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We'll find out later.
They land, and you have Adama's kids running after him. Apollo is in the lead. Athena's right behind. They ask Colonel Ty, what's going on. The Master Tech has not been able to repair the damaged computer console, so they can monitor his condition, but they cannot bring him out, especially without a great risk of permanently damaging Commander Adama's mind. So what choice do they have but to leave him in and hope that he can get himself out?
Yeah, and they will touch on it, or I think, like you said, Ty says, if any attempt to remove him, but if we all remember as well, the longer he stays in, right?
Yes.
So I wish Ty would have said that here. I don't know if he says it later. I think somebody may or may not. It's maybe just me thinking about it. Is that Ty could have said to himself, like on an aside, damn, man, sooner or later, Apollo or whoever, we're going to have to choose. That would have been really good, right?
Right.
I think they maybe do it later, but I'm not sure. And like you said, though, what choice do we have? And well, he's going to say, man, maybe like a sit down type of thing in an office, because they're always running around. But it seems to be that there's only 3 rooms in this whole ship, right?
Yes. Yeah, the ship feels very small.
Very, very small. And I wanted to give you props on that for bringing that up a couple of times. And it's hilarious that you do it, because you're absolutely right. There's no broadening on this damn. Well, the splash page does, because then we say about Boxy and Muffet. That's it's a Battlestar. It's humongous. It's huge. Nick would say. Huge. Yeah. Nick would say. But you're correct.
Now I
think
pizza.
They forget about things like that.
Now I want pizza, Dave. See what you did?
Dude, I would love some sausage pepperoni right now, dude. No, that's your fault. I wasn't even thinking of food. That's anyway, you, man.
Well, that's on Nick Weiser.
Well, let me set up a stream element real quick, and somebody can buy me.
Yeah.
I haven't got to that
We'll
point,
be back
guys.
in about an hour. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But hey, so of course, okay. So the next page.
Well,
we're just.
I'm sorry.
You wanted to finish something here?
Cut you. Yeah, I just wanted to quickly roll, because you said next page. I'm liking the artwork here for some reason. I don't know why. I like the spread from shortly here, because seems like a big page. I don't know if it's just me. And I'm scrolling back up from the landing dock to them running to the shortly here. I'm liking this, the colors, him floating in this thing. Yeah. That's a good shot of him floating in this. That there's the door, I guess. The door's a little weak, but who cares? That's nitpicking. And this little sidebar. And they're always like family, even though that they are, right? It's always reiterated. Yes. This is about Adama, but that's my dad. And Athena's like, that's my dad too. And Starbuck, it might as well be his dad, and Ty, they're all family at this point. I just like that one for some reason. I don't know what it was. It just really caught my eye. And, okay, so
the next page, this first one, basically to summarize all of these different things, they're going into a memory of Adama from the past. So this is not present day. They are saying on the left, the machine is inducing another memory, but it's not the memory that they want, but it's a different memory from the past. So we know that this could have the potential to be a throwaway issue, right? So that tells me right now, okay, what are we going to learn throughout the rest of this issue? Because while you could get away with the throwaway episode on TV of stuff, TNG loves to do that quite a bit. It seems like a ton of shows do. I'm just picking on TNG.
Yeah.
I don't feel like
the right
they have that. I don't feel like they have the license to really get away with that as much necessarily here, since they did diverge from the TV show. You have too many plot lines open to just waste an episode. You're going to anger readers, right?
Yes, especially you've brought this up before. They've got to be careful with how many plot lines are going to go on, and if you can skip a couple episodes, you notice they're not doing a lot of those see last issue type stuff, because it's not falling into play. They're not reiterating where they are in space. They're not even talking about Cylons unless it pops up later, right? So for the reader, you're going to lose track of a lot of stuff.
Right. And so in this issue, I'm now teed up in the back of my mind saying, what are we going to learn about Adama in his character, or the characters that he interfaces with, and the crew of the Galactica? What's going to happen with them? Because there's a reason why they chose here to go back and do this, and I don't think it was to pad the number of episodes in the run.
No,
I keep saying episodes, folks. I'm sorry. I think of this as a TV show.
I do it too. I do it all night long.
Yes, I know it is technically not an episode.
And while you're talking about that, I am going to keep that in mind while you're talking. I'm going to show a couple things from Buddy. It's hard for me to do this, guys, because I have to move it over.
Sure.
But what I noticed that it will show that on top of the comic, so I can get away with it for a little bit while you're still talking. Buddy says, I like how they drew the Vipers like the Mattel toys more than the actual ships. That's great. That's an awesome point of view on how you like them. And you know me, everybody, I'm a Viper guy, right?
Yes.
And thank you for the comments, everybody else as well, Putin and whoever else is here.
Yeah.
And then he has another one where he goes back and sorry I didn't catch it at first, buddy, because I tend to not try to cover up the comments because I don't want to do this to everybody looking to the left. I only do that if I have to reply to something. He goes, that's different from the show where they can go into the decontamination room first. So remember we were talking about the Vipers landing where you brought it up? That's a plot line I'm going to try not to forget later on because they screw something up there if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
When they didn't for a Hollow's bachelor party. Remember that?
Yes. Well, I did after Buddy brought it up.
Yeah. So, the people in the chat know their crap, dude. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
In the show and the comics. And I'm so glad that we have such knowledgeable and cool people that are following us because they can keep us in line. And they also bring up stuff that they know is effed up. Because why didn't they? Well, they brought it up. The only way to get out of that, buddy, was what, JT? Just admit it.
Yes.
Right, everybody? Was that Ty who came up? Well, wow, and he was pissed. Remember, I thought it was Boomer at first, but Boomer was sick. And remember, if you remember, I said, no, that's Ty standing there and giving him crap. And it's too late. Push that plot line along. They didn't do it. And the only way to get out of it again is that we effed up. And it almost killed all of them. Yeah, it was Ty, buddy. Thank you. Yeah. Excellent stuff. And everybody else, if I missed some good ones, we've read them. JT, thank you for keeping up with the chat because it's hard for me to do it.
These guys don't understand. These guys have never heard of an Article 15. I'm just gonna say that.
No. Well, Starbuck maybe in his younger days, right? Yeah. I'm sure he probably lost rank somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no freaking way. And I'm not drinking or anything, guys, because I'm in a good mood. JT and I were kicking ass today. Right. I have coffee. It's coffee. With no jam in it.
I have a Mountain Dew Zero Baja Blast sitting here with me. So
I think that one would even. I probably have to get kicked off the stream. You probably had to kick me off if I was drinking Mountain Dew.
So I did want to bring up here. I love the art and it's subtle, the way that it's done. So you see the emissions trail coming off the back of these Vipers.
Yes.
Here, but it actually splits up the page.
Yep.
And I love that.
Caught on to that. I love how they did this. And then, oh my God, look who's here. I mean, in the comic, sorry, I sound like somebody popped into our stream. No, I shouldn't have said it that way, just in case I'll check. Actually, that's why I keep them just over to the right in case somebody comes on the stream. It shows up on the left, but it covers the comments. It's our friendly neighborhood Cylons. Yay!
Yeah, so we get thrown into battle right away with the Cylons, which is what we like, don't we, Dave?
Yes.
More battle with Cylons. Let's see. So, but they are
JT,
bugging out.
I have to cut you off really quick. This is a memory.
Yes.
Because I'll lose track if you don't.
The present day comments are in the boxes.
Yeah.
And I love that they use the smoke to kind of make the memory a haze.
Excellent point again. You are on point tonight, brother. You right?
I ate my Wheaties on Sunday.
It's the Mountain Dew.
Yeah. It's the Mountain Dew. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, because I got a little tired last week, but that comic made me so mad. We'll talk about that later when we get into this. That I regained a little bit of vibrant.
So
great artwork.
I get a little, not so happy that they're going back and doing a memory instead of moving the story forward.
Yeah.
But they at least throw you into a good battle scene. They're bugging out right away. And
Now,
I
do you
don't know
think they
who
did that
he's
on?
flying with. Oh, go ahead.
Do you think they did that on purpose? And I'm sorry to cut you off, but what you just said is they put this battle scene in there so it doesn't get boring.
Yes.
Good answer.
And I don't know. Okay, so it's Starbuck and Apollo, and Starbuck asks Apollo why they need to bug out, because the initial volley destroyed half of the Cylon squadron or flight that they were flying against. So then they say in this box between Athena and Starbuck there, we're actually seeing Father's thoughts, a vision from his past, a vision or a nightmare. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. What does this remind you of, guys? It's not really a deep dive. I started to think of Zach here when Starbuck said that, right? Or maybe he's foreshadowing. I couldn't tell. Get out of there. I wasn't sure right there, right, JT, when Starbuck said that? Was he thinking of maybe the future? Because they're watching this memory as well, right? On the blue screen.
They are.
They're watching on the green screen.
They are, but we don't find out yet why he says that. It continues on. He says why later.
Yeah, so I thought of that immediately, and then because it is a memory, and I thought maybe they were going to start saying Adama's really going to start medically losing it here. But I got a little ahead of myself when I was reading this because Ty says, reporting a Cylon encounter. And Adama's like, yeah, got it.
This is before the colonies are still in place, by the way. And we get this because strange report, Colonel Ty is saying here, unexplainable sightings have been filtering into the colonies from this galactic sector. So that gives us a time frame of just how far back it is. It's at least before issue 1. So it's not like they went back 1 week ago. They are no longer in the void here. The colonies are intact. They could call for backup if they really needed to. But Adama is not overly concerned about their position at the moment.
No. I do maybe kind of wish they would put in a little time frame box every now and then, but if you're paying attention, you kind of know exactly what you just said anyway, right? But Adama makes a very, very interesting hint here, or not hint, he just straight up tells them. He gets the hint, Ty catches on, and then we get a space monster from Ty, and they're like, what? Oh, that's
there's
right,
something on the scopes that is massive, and they don't know what it is.
Right. Let me.
So this is an interesting one. Who do we have here?
Yeah, it's him. I was kind of right.
Father, what do you suppose it is? Well, it's not Apollo. It is Zach, the younger brother.
Yeah, we're getting a really cool throwback here. I liked it.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, the 1979 version doesn't really go into that very much. Like the 2004 version, when Starbuck is now a woman and he was in love with Apollo's younger brother, who should have never been a pilot because he was just trying to make his, ingratiate himself in the family and make him his father proud, even though he wasn't a pilot, and Apollo kind of covered up for him, right? So we get more in the 2004 version, which is decades after this, but this is the younger brother that is that is no longer with us by the time the Cylons invade and wipe out the colonies.
Yes, exactly. And they finally get the little box here. So I guess foot and mouth, but I would have liked to have seen it earlier. There's centons later. We get some good artwork of some Vipers here in a very small panel for the most to fit it in, right? And then the little bitty one here with the centons later, and you get the little Starbuck on the hull there, and your favorite scene with Starbuck in the fighter. What's he doing again?
Is he smoking in this
He's
one?
smoking.
Oh, he is. I didn't even notice.
You correct me if I'm wrong. That does look like a wisp of smoke. But he's
no,
talking.
it's a cigarette, or it's a special cigarette, maybe. Who knows? It's hard to tell.
Yeah, they're so infatuated. If you've noticed that every time we see him, he has one in, like constantly, unless I missed some scenes, that he's talking and smoking the cigar at the same time.
I tell you what, they really missed a chance to like have Philip Morris get in this comic at this point, right?
Yeah, yeah. You would have thought, or maybe some Cuban cigar. Well, Cuban cigars. Were they boycotted back then, or
they were definitely, because JFK.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
This is 79, so they absolutely were boycotted. And
Dominicans, Dominican cigars, or Nicaraguan, maybe. Yeah.
But they had tons of other legal cigars that they could have promoted, but right.
Probably not the best thing for kids, as we found out.
Well, he's freaking smoking every other pain anyway.
Yeah,
true. But I guess I get what you're saying. They're not going to promote it. You don't see any Marlboro men on these comics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're flying around, and then this is a good face shot of Apollo here. What do you think?
His face doesn't look like his face in other scenes.
Nope. But
it's fine.
Yeah. The eagle's not there. Details, right?
Yeah.
I mean, once you see it, you can't unsee it. But that's nitpicking. But
you get the shock
you get the shock
and panic, right? in the face.
Yeah. But the verbiage here, we needed a felder carb here, right? Or a frack.
Well, hold your horses. Hold your horses.
I almost scrolled down because of the next scene. If you saw that, what would you have said coming up?
I probably would have started quoting the Doomsday Machine. But
right?
Yeah.
I think a few fracks might have came out of my mouth to the next panel. You tell me when I can scroll down.
Go for it. Go for it. Yeah.
So this is what Apollo's looking at, and obviously that's the cover.
What does come out of his mouth is
holy felder carb! Yay! we
what
do
is
get
it? A rogue planet?
We do get it.
That's no moon. Well, and it's also not a space station.
No. So insert all sci-fi quotes.
Yeah. Now, I love the sinister look on almost a face on this planet.
It's like a
size with a creature, but it's also an interesting Rorschach test. I will.
Oh, dude, you don't want my answers until the end.
I know. I think
I don't want to ruin it for people, but I'm going to write it down.
But I looked at that and said Rorschach. Anyway. So
there's two things that came to mind immediately, but anyway.
Yeah.
But
this is a weird planet. I'll just say that.
Yeah. And so what do you think of the imagination level of whoever came up with this?
I liked it.
Well, and the imagination is, I liked it too. Because like I said before, just you could do anything as long as you're good at it, right?
And what we're doing here is almost like a Star Trek story, because they're doing, well, I don't know if it's strictly exploration, but they're coming across the unknown in new life, or I guess it's not a new civilization, but it's new life. And so you're getting that type of a story instead of the political intrigue that we've seen in so many of the previous issues. So you're like, okay, I was a little caught off guard by this. Yeah. Because we haven't had this before.
I'm intrigued. Excuse me. And I like the writing again and I like the Vipers. See the little lines they added and stuff to it. it just makes those Vipers look so much better instead of that just glossy, lazy stuff. They just throw a few lines in and wow, look at the difference.
I also wonder, this is the December issue. I wonder if would it have been released in the month of November for the December issue? Either way, it would have been late November, early December, right? So
the other guys would
were they
definitely know the
selling
answer.
toys at this point? Like I didn't mention it the last episode or the last issue. If it was the November issue, so was it released shortly before Halloween? It would make sense to have a vampire body swapper in that one. This one, I'm wondering, impossible to know without asking the people that may not be around anymore. Did you put this many Vipers in here because they were selling toys at that point? If anyone in the chat knows the timeline on this, well, it would make sense to me to pump up Vipers if you've got Vipers going out to the local Sears, right, or in the catalog.
Absolutely. And we're tracking together here, man. Have you seen the difference? There's a little Viper heavy lately, right?
Yeah.
And a lot better looking.
Mm-hmm.
And you caught it. You caught it as well. That man, they're showing a lot of Vipers lately, and they look way, way better on the most part. Like there's a focus on them, and it reminds me of the Will Ferrell Saturday Night Live sketch. We need more cowbell.
Yeah.
So it could be 100% right what you're saying, or it just happens to be a coincidence. But somebody in there, somewhere along the line, said we want more Vipers. Damn it!
Yeah,
and it could be.
But I'm not going to say no.
I'm not going to say no.
So in any event, it's the size and mass of our homeworld Caprica. That really struck me as odd. They should have just said size, because for it to have the mass of Caprica, it's either going to need to be run by some incredibly dense, heavy, massive amounts of rare earths, or it's going to have like rock in it, right? Because organic matter is far less dense than rock. So I wasn't super happy with that, but I'm nitpicking.
They said it.
So, yeah, they did. That's
like
my Star Trek nitpickiness in there.
No, it's a good scientific point, though. That why would you say mass? You say, holy crap, if that thing is big as Caprica. Done.
Right.
Done. Because, I'm sorry. Because they haven't done a closer inspection, which, boom, there you go. There it is right there.
Yep.
And I love these sweeping shots that I brought up on the Cylon and Cobalt. Remember, I was saying, I love that sweeping shot. So this gives you a size comparison, right? The little bitty Viper here, big ass planet. Well, they don't know what it is, right? So I'll say planet because they say planet.
Right. So they have done a scan that says the planet core is organic. I wouldn't think of it necessarily like an Earth's core. I just think they mean the interior of the planet. And so the surface of this planet is actually more like the skin of the planet. And they talk about these tentacle objects resemble plant life. And Commander Spock, they are not, or Science Officer Spock, they are not.
They're not.
They just think, they're plants. How nice. We're going to land.
Right. Thank you. I was like, okay, we'll move the plot along, but
procedure is to land and plant some sensors.
Yeah, that's the procedure, is to probably call that maybe we shouldn't just land on this thing because we don't know what the heck. Can we not drop sensors on it and then figure it out? They have to actually get out and hand drop sensors, right?
Yep.
They just couldn't shoot a probe on it or just land a probe on it.
And they were a little angry that this copied Star Wars. Well, I dare say that Star Wars copied this comic because Odd Touchdown was easy, almost too easy. The ground didn't seem this level on the initial pass. Ooh. It's almost like the planet itself cleared a runway for me, but that's absurd. Everything about this place defies logic. Empire Strikes Back much?
Yeah, just a little on several different notes.
Yes.
In several different areas in space as well. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I wouldn't have thought that Apollo would be so careless, and then they don't really talk about, hey, is this air, we can breathe the air? Well, just move along. Apparently they can, right? Did I miss that? They just jump right out. No safety equipment. I know we're nitpicking, guys, everybody, but I don't know. It just seemed a little odd. You could at least put on like some kind of air mask. They did it before, I think, right?
Or at least leave your flight helmets on.
Yeah, something. But anyway.
So they start sneaking in, right? And they turn around and say, uh-oh, behind you, the plants. They're attacking.
Starbuck, he makes he's already thinking about having this place as a little rendezvous area.
Yeah.
Remember the lore of Starbuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
A+. I'll never probably say they never did a good job with that. So they keep that lore, and he's got his cigar in his mouth, not even holding it. And he's already planning on making this a little interlude area. But like you said,
who is Starbuck talking to?
He's talking to Apollo.
It looks like he's talking to Buddy Hepburn.
Huh?
Right there.
Oh, yeah.
Down, Buddy, get down. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Buddy Hepburn, you got a shout out in the comic. Good for you.
Yeah.
Let's see. So then there's some gas and some stuff, and you can't breathe. And then they start shooting. Never mind. The ladies probably wouldn't like this.
Yeah.
I'd have to start paying for my own drinks. Now, let's plant these sensors and get out of here.
Yeah.
So that's what they do.
So yes, like you said, Starbuck saves them from getting eaten or whatever, it's because it attacked them, right? Like you said. And I am going to get a little nitpicky here because I don't understand some things, like, and this is going to be a constant theme with these comic books or this series. You go from decent to good, facial, passable, to this really weird stuff right here to the right, this right square with Starbuck and Apollo. That is it just me, or is that Apollo face just kind of weird?
It's off. I've stopped caring because it's off more than it's on. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to see. We get another frack, just a casual one here. Well, let's just get the frack out of here. Come on, man. Dude, this place sucks. It's kind of probably what you should have thought to yourself before you landed.
Yes.
Because if you think about it, they would have said, let's just plant these sensors and get the frack out of here. This place is freaking weird. But we get a pretty decent shot of the Galactica here.
Yes,
because it's
they're
more
trying
detailed.
again. Yeah,
they're trying.
And I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, because they put some detail on it, and somebody probably said, you can't make these shiny silent helmet chips. Come on, you got to put some lines in there, and that can't cost much more than just some lash lines. So they did here. They did a lot, really, on this one.
Yes, they did. It's nice.
But this thing is tracking the Galactica.
Yes, it is. So they make an emergency landing. They want to go to the decontamination ward. Once it's sonically sterilized,
now,
which it's only the outside of the ship.
So the guys, this is an important thing. So the ships get decontaminated when they come in, but that doesn't mean the pilots are decontaminated because they run, right? Because they're inside the ship.
Right. And so why is there protocol to have people interfacing with them when they should have been more cautious?
All right. So the guy, the Apollo or whoever, because I can't tell which one's which because there's no blonde here for Starbuck. So they come in, a tour, and he doesn't want to go in. And just like Buddy said, sorry, man, you would think that you'd want to, right? That you're just going to do it. Obviously, he doesn't relish it because they don't really give a time frame, do they, on how long it takes?
No.
It's just confusing, and we've dealt with this before, that sometimes the panels are misplaced time-wise. But get away from me, this ad. Sorry, guys. I'm going to have to, until that goes away. They show them in the decontamination ward, the pilots, after they've already landed. So it's clear to us that just because they fly in, the pilots don't get decontaminated. But you would think that they could hop out and do this all in one room. I don't know. But why is this guy talking to them?
Yeah, I don't know.
He's sitting in the pilot. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, his younger brother comes up to him, and then this technician starts talking to him as well.
Yeah, but he's sitting in the pilot after they've already gone to decon. So what did you?
Yeah,
you know what? It doesn't.
Yeah,
somebody just flubbed.
The ship has been decon, but they need to go into separate decon chambers for themselves, which means nobody should be interacting with them because now they've contaminated all of the maintenance crew.
Right. Exactly. So somebody flubbed up on they shouldn't have been sitting in this Viper, but
yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay. So then they're saying, oh, they're getting a lot of crazy data. Something's wrong. Your face, Starbuck. What's wrong with your face? Line from Mr. Plinkett.
Yeah, look at his face, dude. Holy cow.
Then he's got some really bad acne going on.
Really bad one. That one on his right cheekbone hole and his eyebrows, but that big one right there. Wow.
Yeah, but before the next thing can happen, the med techs start collapsing.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're in more trouble than he is. But what's happening, I feel like my skin's on fire, then he passes out, then Zach passes out, not Starbuck. So Zach is contaminated.
That's why there was no blonde there. I forgot already. And then they did the blonde.
Apollo looks on in horror as he witnesses his brother's grisly transformation on the next page. Yep. So the crew are screaming in pain, in horror.
Yeah.
And it's all your fault, Apollo, because you and Starbuck got out of, you're idiots.
Okay, so I'm going to scroll back up for a second here. The timing is off in the panels. This to the left, that thing there.
The observation.
I got confused thinking that was them for a second.
Nope.
But I guess my whole point was, just like you said, the ship got decontaminated, but they didn't. So the flub is really, really bad here.
Yes.
Again, it's really bad. It's way worse than I thought. They did not follow
common sense isolation protocols whatsoever.
Yeah.
Not at any phase. Right.
They haven't learned.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's bad.
Well, this was before the bachelor party, but the bachelor party just proves they didn't learn after all this.
Yeah. They haven't learned from what's going on here. Because this is way before that to keep everybody on track, especially me.
So everybody passes out. Zach collapses. Apollo's looking around in horror. And yeah, it is all your fault, dude.
Yeah, but they talked about going to the decon chamber. So it's their fault, the writers.
They hadn't gotten to it
yet.
It's
not us.
They said you need to wait until the decon chambers get
they
here.
Said it, and then they didn't do it.
You've compromised everybody that was in that landing bay.
So it's not you and me. We're really good. I'm going to come down hard on that.
They're dum-dums. Yeah.
Yeah.
Later on the bridge, are you sure it's headed our way? The plague is spreading rapidly. They can't now you try to contain it. But and somehow they figure out the disease appears to be transmitted telepathically. I didn't like that explanation.
No.
Your diagnosis.
I got very confused. I got very lost coming up. Just to give you a heads up.
Yep.
Even Adama says it.
Yeah, the bed computers will bear me out. The alien warriors were thoroughly tested. No viral infections. If brain scans indicate highly unusual energy patterns. How that leads him to conclude that it was telepathic.
But even Adama
Yeah.
says it. Your diagnosis is preposterous.
But psychosomatic symptoms induced by telepathy, that is a bunch of no.
Except
I
when
don't buy
Apollo
it.
doesn't get sick. He doesn't have puff face. Nothing.
Right.
But knowing what we know later doesn't make sense, because especially the telepathy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing what happens when you read the rest of this.
So then
that makes sense.
Single greatest threat to humanity. Well, then just don't fly home. Go off into space. Blow yourself up, right? Then it's
Something.
not. Anyway, Adama, more bad news. Gentlemen, we raise a dilemma. Oh.
Yeah, sorry. So we got the Cylon base stars coming after him.
Yes, 3 base ships.
3, yeah, thanks.
They call them base ships, not base.
They don't call them base stars? Oh,
no,
man.
base ships in this one have just been detected. They're chasing us as well. So I don't know which way they go to avoid both of them. But the creature or the Cylons? Well, luckily space is 3-dimensional. I guess you could go up. But hey, or down.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And they really tried to... Oh, I'm sorry. They really try to describe what Apollo's going through here up at the top left. They call it a chilled, lonely room. His body twisted, his mind ravaged. So they really lay it on here about what he's dealing with, right?
Yeah. But how Adama knows any of this is happening? Because this is all supposed to be from Adama's view. Like, I get that. How does he know what's going on in his head?
Well, the clue... Well, he wouldn't, really. This should all be on Apollo's side of it.
Yeah, that's where it starts to kind of crumble.
Yeah.
To me,
it's a little
with the storytelling method.
And he just, so Apollo he's isolated in his room because he's not showing symptoms, but he was there, so they don't isolate him anyway. But help me out here, JT, in chat. What room is he busting out of with this chair or TV or whatever? Why does he have to smash out of a room?
He's in decon.
Oh, so now
he's in decon right now. Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, he's quarantined. If he went back to decon or not, he's in quarantine in this area. What they should have done to make this more believable is have Adama looking at a view screen of his son in quarantine. Then you would have better understood, and maybe this would have flown a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm not going to scroll up and try to find
it. And then he would have watched him screaming, waking up, and throwing stuff.
Okay.
And then breaking out. Right? He broke right through the wall somehow. He was damn strong. He broke through a whole wall.
With a chair.
A steel wall with a chair.
He just blasted it.
Whatever contractor built the Galactica, I would like to have a word.
Especially for a decontamination chamber.
Yes, exactly. Okay, and then the Galactica will channel all its resources, siphon all of its energy into one furious blast, and they're going to try to Death Star laser this creature. Yeah. No, without the beast, we've no hope of curing the plague. I don't know why, but that's what they say.
That's kind of a callback to the original one, which is a flashback on this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the other disease that he had to go back to the planet.
Yeah.
So we get a little...
for all you know, it's the creature that's started this disease, and if you kill the creature, the telepathic torture will go away.
There you go.
I mean, that's what I would think you would want to do. Whatever, we just can't. We will sacrifice ourselves to destroy this to keep it from reaching the colonies. Then everybody sees Apollo running around mad crazy.
Look what he says. None may bar my path. And he's not wearing a shirt or anything. He just throws his jacket on. Right?
Yeah.
So that's DC superhero, Marvel superhero. None may bar my path, right?
Yeah.
That tickled me a little bit.
So we've got to stop him before he infects the whole ship. Gentle down, buddy. What the?
Yeah.
Gentle down?
Old school 70s talk.
Okay.
Yeah, or they assume that that's the way they talk.
Then he does some,
and they're running around like cartoon characters.
Roundhouse kick.
That's a fantastic kick, man. Jeez.
Yeah. Straight to the face.
Yeah, that's no Buck Rogers kick, right?
Right.
That's a full Bruce Lee.
Within, I think they mean within a micron or within microns.
Yeah,
he reaches the launching bay.
We get that Viper. Little misplaced
and an unauthorized launch. Who's the pilot? Apollo. Yes.
So he did get in and jump. Yeah. I guess there's no like master loading dock guy who would have reported that immediately. We have an unauthorized launch. But
maybe he punched him, fought his way to the ship.
Yeah,
something we don't know.
Yeah, I guess somebody told Ty because he knows it's Apollo. So I guess they do have, somebody in charge down there at all times.
Okay. So that in all the years that Yaren's as commander, Adama never once considered his beautiful Galactica, and here it is indeed beautiful, a particularly vulnerable vessel until now. And he's trapped between a rock and a hard place. And the Cylons say, over here, they've ignored us.
Yay, Cylons are back.
By your command. Yep.
Huh? Yeah. And so we get that. By your command, by your command, by your command, by your command. I got it on repeat. I didn't even mean to do it that way, but that's the way it was. I've got to do that at least once a show, if I remember.
Right.
But a good shot of them sitting in there, 3 of them. And then the eye, yay, we get a good close-up of the face. Exterminate all humans. What is this the throwback, though, to? Right? Exterminate.
Yep. And then, like Star Trek the Motion Picture, he goes to the being and tries to make physical contact to establish communication, just like Spock did.
But I'm going to go back just a quick thing here. Because I had missed it. The little yellow, not the square one, is while on the planetoid. But I'm like, okay, yeah, obviously. Oops, sorry. Obviously, that's where he is. But the one underneath it, the balloon one, the speech bubble, then yellow. It says, "Excellent, you have returned." Right, and you're like, "Oh, who's that? Who's talking?" Right?
Who is
sorry,
talking?
I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're asking who's talking?
Yeah, well, I mean, you say to yourself, this is like you get this weird speech bubble here. He's in his ship flying around, and it's like, "Excellent, you have returned." And then like, "Oh, that's got to be the planet. The planet's talking to him."
Yes.
So you get
in his head. The telepathy.
Yep.
So then, as the Battlestar gets closer, they're saying, "Okay, we're going to have to start firing on the planet," and they can't. So the tentacles start going out. Big panic ensues on the ship. Some unknown forces rendered our instrumentation useless. We won't go down without a fight. Scramble the Vipers.
Yeah, but...
So this is a pretty intense page.
Yeah.
This is pretty tense. You think
very tense.
They're screwed. They are desperate.
And one of the biggest decisions that Adama's ever had to make, what does he do here? He says it. Ty goes, but Apollo, well, you've got your orders. That's brutal. Right?
Yes.
I mean, that's really deep. And I thought it should have been more than that little square there, right? I mean, based on everything that we know that he's dealt with Zach and all this stuff, which hasn't happened yet. I get it, right? They went that route that Adama was just going to sacrifice Apollo. I don't know.
Well, he had to do the count. He had to stop him from going to the colonies.
Yeah.
So
I guess
he would have flown the ship into the planet if he thought it would have done something.
Yeah. I guess if it hadn't have been that serious, he would have changed his mind and said, okay, well, screw it. We'll go after the Cylons instead. But knowing, like you said, what could have happened, he was going to sacrifice Apollo, man. That's deep.
Yeah, everyone.
That's deep. Yeah, and then you're right. He couldn't do it. So I lost. I guess the monster did that, right? I mean, the planet stopped that.
Yeah. Well, we don't know why, but we assume, we suspect.
Yep. Sorry, I'm moving around, guys.
Yeah. So then the Vipers are launched, and their lasers work. Not sure why, but their lasers work.
Good point. I didn't even catch on to that. Nice.
So,
I didn't even. Yeah, and I guess
they
the
work
Cylons?
because they're fighting the Cylons.
Okay. Or do you think maybe the planet realized that they were going to attack the planet itself directly? He just stopped the ship for now, and then I guess by default, the little things, the planet wasn't really concentrating on the little ones. The planet's immediate concern was, I'm going to get blasted. I need to stop this. So he went after the ship telepathically until
So as they're fighting a pitched battle, and the ship is basically helpless in space, the planet starts just reaching out for it, and then we think, the end is near.
Oh, sorry.
There's ads in between, which every kid furiously flipped past.
Yep, I was just showing a comment real quick. He had training at the Military Institute. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So you see, continued after second page following, they had ads. So you're like, oh, come on. And you did not read those ads. You flipped right past them.
Oh, you flipped right through them, because this is getting it on, man. You've got a lot going on here, right?
Yeah, they teased you. Yeah. So, and then they go beyond it. Bum, bum, bum. Unforeseen twist. Moving at incredible speeds, the massive appendages ensnare the Cylon base stars with ravenous anticipation. So now we kind of know that Apollo, right? Is it Apollo that went onto the surface? Yeah.
Yeah.
Apollo is communing with this planet, did something to convince the planet to think of the Cylons as the enemy, and the base, or the Battlestar is the friend, right? Needs protecting.
And we go back to because it's telekinesis, telepathy, or however, it kind of ties into the whole thing that we talked about in the last issue of getting into their minds between who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. Right. And now you have this planet-sized entity who is a massive destructive force, could have wiped them all out, really, and decides that, well, our good guys are the good guys because of Apollo this time. And that probably explains why I was so weirded out that Apollo wasn't the only one getting sick, even though he was directly on the planet. Now you can tie in the fact that this thing probably had prevented that, although I don't know how, because Starbuck got sick really bad, right? His face almost bust up, and people were just falling over. except Apollo. And I guess you just, at this point, if you caught on to that, you assume that this planet had it so he can come back. Although he could probably talk to him at any time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then there's some distance, I guess, with this thing, and crazy plot twist.
Right. And I love that it basically just grabs these ships and smashes them together with just an absolutely cataclysmic explosion there.
Yeah, dude. And you hopefully, the Battlestar isn't that close to those guys. Because as we all know, two of those, because we've seen it before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Causing them, and then the planet blowing up with one of them. We've seen that as well. And then we get a good shot down here. Apollo's still down on the planet surface.
And there's silence and cold and just a feeling of peace. As you see in the background, one of the last Cylon fighters is getting shot by a Viper.
Yeah,
cool touch to that. Because
everybody there figures this is the end here. Because if we destroy the planet, the Cylons are going to have to jump on us. Right? And then they figure if they destroy the Cylons, this thing, we can't fight the planet because then it's too late. So everybody up there has impending doom. Right? I mean, especially sitting on the command deck, watching this all go down, right? And especially for Adama, thinking that I'm going to blow up everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the feeling is, you can see they got the double.
This is your Star Trek moment. This is your Star Trek moment right here, as the last Cylon ship is destroyed. I think it's Adama. It's someone on the bridge says the creature, it spanned deep space to destroy them all, but how? And then you hear the voice inside your head. My physical manifestation is dimensionally transcendental.
That's a load.
What the F?
Yeah.
Then he through telepathy, he communicates to everyone on the ship, or at least on the bridge. Greetings, I am he who searches yet survives. An interesting, good writing there. The planetoid whom you mistakenly feared, even though we're really different, we're brothers of the mind and soul, which is why I aided you against the metal ones who desire the absence of life. So that was cool.
Sorry. That was very, very cool and very interesting, because the planet would have only gotten that context from Apollo and Starbuck or whoever. I'm assuming he scanned pretty much any human,
right?
But the Cylons being just metal, and he says it here. The planet says it here against those metal ones. But he caught on that they just want absolute destruction. And again, the way that our good guys are, saved them, right? Because that planet could have said, screw you too, right? Could have easily said that. Obviously, it would have been in the comics, but you never know, right? What could have happened next? And here you go. What do you think about this one?
You have the ending. Well, it's not really the ending. We have another page after it, but communication between species was difficult. So he's saying that, all those symptoms are going to go away because we figured a way to communicate. Apollo is transmuting through your reality. So he's getting transported back unharmed. We have much to learn from each other. But he says, for untold millennia, I'm surprised they didn't change that to a Battlestar Galactica reference for time, right? I've explored the stellar seas alone. Now I hunger for companionship. For deep space is the loneliest place of all.
Sounds
and
like
your
a
presence will comfort me for a brief while. Well, if it's for untold millennia, wouldn't you like want to stick around all these colonies with trillions of people?
Well, yeah. He could have kept them all alive just for companionship. They could have taken that route. Well, I just wanted some companionship. That sounds like a starfish that you're floating around in space for a long time.
I just would have think he would have stuck around and said, I want to interface with all your people, learn about all your different cultures, and then he would have been there when the Cylons tried to off everyone, and he could have just said, "No, you're not going to do it." Like they could have developed a symbiotic relationship, which would have been really cool. But yeah,
and you've got some decent faces here, right? Again, Adama doesn't look like Adama because we've already talked about that. Boomer's not bad. Athena looks pretty good here. And I like this interaction between the thing and the planet and them for the most part. The dialogue might be a little advanced for kids. Like I couldn't have even gone over that one square you said.
It would have gone right over your head.
Yeah, the words are like way above educational level for this comic age group, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But it was cool Star Trek. I mean, really, it was. What else would you call this?
It's Star Trek. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not to say that somebody wouldn't have come up with this on their own. I'm not going to say you're copying anything, but it is.
Sure.
It's a sci-fi trope, you said? Or it's just a sci-fi theme?
Well, it just felt sci-fi because they're meeting new life in new civilizations, right?
Exactly.
That's
two issues in a row,
and it has a peaceful resolution. They make that communication, they bridge the gap there, and learn something new.
Peaceful, but not without absolute brutality going on. The last issue, guy got murdered. A bunch of other people almost got murdered, and here they almost lost everything. The whole Galactica almost got sacrificed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not without they earned it, right? They always earn it in vast ways. And even Adama says it here. A magnificent flood of alien knowledge sweeps through the Galactica. So I guess everybody's kind of catching on, and Adama is like, "Well, I misjudged the entire situation." I was like, I don't know if he misjudged it.
Yeah, I have a problem with this last page because it's this is why he said a dream or a nightmare. I remember this. Then 20 pages up. Now he says, "I remember this incident. It haunted it haunted Father for yarns. He almost resigned his commission. Memory of the incident returns to torment him." Why? I don't get why he thinks it's his fault. He didn't know any of that until the very last second, and they didn't have a lot of time. They threw those biosensors down, then everybody immediately got sick, and then the Cylons showed up. So I don't see why he would ever blame himself for trying to selflessly give his ship and crew to defend the colonies on what he thought was a threat. Well, okay, you learn later that it's not a threat. Good for you. You got lucky. How is any of that a fault thing?
Say that again. Go back.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say they got lucky?
Yes.
Remember, what did they say on the splash page?
Oh, that they got lucky. Yeah.
Luck. So
it was about to run out. Mm-hmm.
Is the writing really, really good that you said that in a review 50 years later or whatever? Or is that just us paying attention, or at least you paying attention to what's going on because you're good at this?
well, thank you. But I don't know. I'm angry. I'm not necessarily angry.
I
disagree with the way they wrote this.
I absolutely disagree. Well, especially this panel here. I was like, well, that's a bunch of BS. Who would have thought that he misjudged this situation? And it's almost like it could time warp you back, sit down on the panel and say, no, take that crap out of there. He didn't misjudge any of this. Mm-hmm. Who's thinking that he did this?
Well,
There's
and the
no
reason they
time.
write that is to get to the very, very last, the very,
Exactly. But
very end here.
it is, but it takes away from Adama, and I don't like that.
Right. Right.
Even
I
though
think,
even though they did it for a reason, it doesn't mean we have to like that.
right. And I think they could have not said that it was his fault. But just said that like had something slightly different go on here, but then say, you know, these dreams are taking too long, they're taking all day, he's pulling up memories that aren't helpful, and his life signs are starting to fade. Not that this is torturing him so bad that it's like stepping on the gas, causing his life signs to fade.
And two things to take back. One, I brought that up earlier. You brought it up as well. And somebody in the chat brought it up. But this is what I was saying earlier, that Ty could have said it back in the early, very beginning of this. Yeah, Apollo, but we're going to have to decide soon. We're going to have to go one way or the other with this. And now Apollo gets it. But the doctor had told him this a long time ago. He can't stay in there too long. Remember, this machine is a torture machine.
Right.
And people have forgotten that. We didn't. And I don't know who.
An interrogation machine. It ends up
interrogation machine.
The secondary effect is it's torture.
Well, yeah, you could always make the assumption, but they said it. We only use it for treacherous traitors and subterfugers, right, or whatever they called them.
Right.
So they put it in there, not us. Again, right. So we can point that out that they did that. And then I had always pointed out, I was like, well, it is a military ship, right? So we have to keep that in context. Whether you agree with it or not doesn't really matter, because they're doing it anyway. But it comes back around for us that we caught on that Apollo and them are going to have to understand, and Ty didn't say it before, but they get it now, that he's going to have to either come out, and that's what it looks like that it's leaning to, right? Because they're not going to have a choice, and I think the choice is here they go at the very end. Go on, technician, tell us more. Well, okay. I think you pretty much told them a lot, but let's see if they fixed it. You think, okay, maybe they fixed it. Well, I've been monitoring the commander's vital signs, and they're beginning to fail, like you said, JT, right? They're catching on. It's not working. And you get a little glimmer of hope here, but we must free him soon, like you were saying, or he dies. Boom, that's it. Yeah, and you nailed it. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a cliffhanger there. That's great.
A little bit, but we also get a good conclusion to the story while also taking us into the next one. Yeah.
And deep thinkers would have said, like you did, I wonder what's going to happen with that planet. Is that going to be like, are they really going to be friends with this thing now? I don't know.
They
you would think. They're like, wait a minute, we've got one of the most destructive weapons on our side now. It just smashed the crap out of 2 base stars simultaneously and cracked their coconuts. Like it was like
and they could exchange knowledge and experience and all kinds of things. It would be a huge benefit for them to have such a powerful entity on their side. But hey,
we didn't write it.
Never going to see it again, right? Unfortunately.
Yeah, spoiler alerts. No, doesn't make sense. That at least they could have maybe said, because we'll just let you know we don't see it again. At least I don't remember it. I'm thinking too much. But yeah, they didn't keep it around, or they could have made another page saying, "Hey, thank you so much for your help." Like really, like have a, I don't know, maybe like a sit down seance or something, right?
Right.
Thing with Commander Ty, or saying, "Can you want to hang out? You want some coffee?"
Exactly.
Maybe a page of that would have been really cool. And of course, this is all after couch talking here, right? But what could have been, what should have been, is totally different. And but that would have been fun to have them have like a big powwow with this thing. Hey, man, you want to come hang out with us? because,
right.
and then there's more of these jackasses if you want to smash them up. And like you said, we can talk about things, but I got to warn you, they're going to keep coming after us. And that thing could have said, I got you. At least for another issue or half an issue. And then maybe they got sick again and they're like, okay, your symptoms went away for a while, but now it's obvious I can't hang around that long. So I'm going to have to go my way after like a half of the issue. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I guess, dude, you're on point, man. You were killing it tonight.
Well, thank you. Well, you brought up some pretty good points of your own, sir.
But it helps when I have somebody like I did pretty good last week, I think. Again,
I feel sorry about that. It was just beyond my control. So,
yeah, it's getting late. Yeah, definitely. And all right, so let's do our total reviews. What you got? Any final comments?
Yeah. So for going back to the first comic issue number 9, I give that one a C+. I do not feel it had any originality in it. It was very predictable. I think there were issues with some of the artwork being low effort. And yeah, I get it. It was probably for Halloween, but it didn't really forward the story in a meaningful way. The most we got was they destroyed a panel, some equipment that just ups the urgency a little bit for Commander Adama. That's really all we get, and I feel like it treads water a little bit too much. It is good for getting Ty going and getting some exploration that way. It just is not one of my favorites, and I don't like the art particularly much, so I give that a C+.
Yeah, I don't know if I even want to give it a grade because it's contradictory. I'm not in wide stances of what I liked. With obviously, I love the part about Ty taking over, right, and saying, "Hey," and then everybody was on board together against Yusai Yuri. I loved that. The writing was pretty good, but that whole thing with Adama in the hallway with Ty was just a complete brain fart, right?
Yes,
for them, and it really derailed me. I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
I get it.
Dude,
I get it.
Yeah, you. I'm like, you brought it up, and I was like, yeah, dude, I don't understand it how we catch it, even at how long. I don't care how long it's been that they didn't. That it doesn't make any damn sense whatsoever. Absolutely not. Because they just skipped right through it. If that's the one guy Adama would have met in the hallway as the alien creature, that would have been the last guy Adama would have wanted to meet it in the hallway, right?
Yes.
Whether or not it tried to take him over or not is irrelevant because he's like, oh, it never would have got down to that. But yeah, I guess C for that one as well. And what do you think about 10? So I can get you out of here, man.
This is tough. I coming up with a letter grade for this. I give it a B+. I really want to give it higher, but I can't. The things that I really loved about it, I mean, the cover, the splash page, that full page Galactica, nicely detailed. It's just a sight to behold. The cover is engaging. I love that this is Star Trek, so call me biased on this. I love that it's Star Trek. I just love that the story goes the way that it does. The bad guys lose, the good guys win. You get a different kind of ending where it just feels like something out of the original series. So that really warms my heart. There's some good artwork throughout, and why I cannot award it an A or an A+. There are two spots where I think they really dropped the ball. The first one being the decontamination process was just poorly and confusingly written, and it makes them just seem like idiots, like rubes.
Well, it's a source of contention.
The military would not get something like a quarantine
Not these
procedure,
guys.
a standard quarantine procedure, especially not these guys. They would not mess that up, right?
Yeah, well, even
Militaries are very well researched in isolating and quarantining of nuclear, chemical, and biological threats, right? So you would think that they would have some sort of a protocol when coming back from an alien planet, right? But here they don't.
But stick to it.
Yeah.
They have to stick to it. Even the chat brought it up, right?
Yep. And the other major pitfall was Adama blaming himself. I thought that was the wrong thing to do there, and it doesn't make logical sense. It's not the most not the most appropriate way to do that. So it loses points on those two things, and it was all writing and the editor that should have caught that before this ever went to any type of penciling was ever done. So that's where I just can't, but this is a very, very good issue. I like it quite a bit.
Yeah, and you nailed it. My point's exactly the thing about Adama and the decontamination absolutely makes no sense. No sense at all, because again, when we were talking about nitpicking on these two issues, yes, we're both wily enough to understand when we're nitpicking and not nitpicking, even though we want to do it sometimes anyway. We also admit to it for the most part, right? Or 99% of the time we'll say it. And our audience understands where we're coming from 99.99% of the time, I think. But when we're talking about these two issues, when we brought up nitpicking, we also reverted back. We're not nitpicking on these two, JT, because they bring it up.
True.
Everything that we're talking about that we don't like, they put in there first in their own comment. So it's not nitpicking. I would have said that these issues were great, other than the major pitfalls.
Yeah.
Absolutely great stuff to absolutely, even Adama says it at one point, ridiculous. Although I do like on some of the things, they backtrack on a few things. Like Adama was like, this is ridiculous. And then you find out that it can telepathically talk to you, and it wound up saving them because of that. So that's okay. That's good that they do that. It's a kind of a setup for us and then they bring you back. Some of the writing was way too intellectual for its customer base.
Yes, that's another issue.
Like way overboard for customer base. Like some of the stuff, I was like, I'm glad you read it. I didn't want to read it. That one box, I was like, I'm not reading that. I'm not gonna mess that up. And you nailed it. And I was like, I was sitting there thinking to myself, I got to point that out. And you're like, because you're so good at this, you nailed it. I didn't have to deal with it, and I just followed you.
And I read it with like one of those TOS like odd voices that's read in like a sound stage and some kind of an echoey type distortion, right? When they do that.
Yeah,
totally. So did you give a letter for this? I don't want to cut you off.
B plus.
Okay.
The major things are almost a little too much to get A's. The decon, that's sci-fi basic 101. And if they wanted to push the agenda that they were going to get sick, I guess if there was somebody sitting here who wrote that, they want to argue with us, but figure out a different way, because that makes no sense that they would do it in the first place, right?
Right.
Figure a different way to come up with them getting sick. But like I said before, they're just going to roll with it. Like they admitted to it. Like Buddy, I think if somebody sent the chat, it's like, yeah, but they did that before, right? And so, well, this is a flashback. So that makes the other one even worse.
Yes,
they did it again.
Yes.
So we can go back to the other issue.
It does make it even worse.
Yeah. So we can go back to the other issue and really lose it.
Yeah.
Because this is technically ahead of the other one. And they should have known that. And somebody should have said, we can't really do this because of the other one. There's no continuity, right?
Mm-hmm. And with the couple minutes we have remaining here, now that we've given our letter grades, if you remember, Dave, I was saying earlier to you as a reader, okay, why are they going back into this memory? What do we learn about Adama? Because this is his vision, right? Why is he bringing this up?
Yeah.
I get a little angry about this because they wrote Adama incorrectly, and what did we learn? Nothing.
Well, if you're going to
because
talk
we
about
learned that they wrote him wrong.
Cobalt, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying what did we learn about Adama himself? Why is he remembering this?
Well,
What is
number
the point
10,
of this?
nothing. In 10,
because
nothing.
we're not going to learn anything about our journey. We're not going to learn about Cobalt, like you said. We're not going to learn about any of this because it's going to the wrong memory in the past that predates the planet Cobalt. So we're not going to learn any of that. He doesn't visit any soothsayers. This organic planet doesn't say, oh, by the way, I met the similar creatures to you off in this direction, right? That would have been an interesting thing to maybe bring up. We don't learn any of that. So to the main story, we don't. So we need to learn something about Adama, because otherwise there is no point to this whole thing.
Yeah, and then quickly. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Keep going.
Go ahead.
And then quickly, that kind of goes out to what I was saying, that I actually like that they're going off somewhere where the Adama thing is everybody needs to step up. Well, they've done that. They've done that now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ty did exactly what I've been waiting for. Everybody else went after Yuri. And now you get a little sense it might be dragging out, because you're correct. It didn't go anywhere. Both of these were one-offs. You barely got Cylons, which was great. Like you said, it saved it, right? Or it would have been all Star Trek-y with but not as good, because it's not Star Trek, it's BSG. And the story is Cylons, Adama, everything else going on, and you're not really touching on any of that. So they're both one-offs.
Yeah.
Except a little bit with the Cylons there at the end.
And my whole thing on this is, what are we supposed to learn about Adama? It's the last page where he says, my fault, and he does like this comatose, my fault kind of a nightmare. So he blames himself. What does he blame himself for? Well, two cells earlier, I misjudged this entire situation. So he almost resigned from the fleet because he misjudged a situation. And we already talked about it. What did he misjudge? Oh, what did he misjudge?
That this planet that's reaching out for them that caused this horrible disease, and he misjudged the planet.
Yeah, he misjudged something he couldn't possibly have known. Yeah.
Yeah, why wasn't the planet talking to him, knowing the planet would have known, like the alien guy in number 9, who was in charge through Apollo, because Apollo never got sick.
So, and so what they're trying to say is he takes himself, he has a guilty conscience for being too quick to go to battle.
For years,
but it's stupid because he couldn't have known that this planet had any type of sentience and a benevolent intent, and that the entire colonies weren't at risk.
And he was actually in between. That's a very important point to your point. He's in between them, not on the other side of the Cylons. So there's absolutely no way. And if we're going to pick, pardon me using that word, bad word, because we said defending our picking, because they did it, not us, is that if you're going to go after a character's thought process after everything like that, that would have been the wrong one in this situation, not him.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't.
So at the end of the day, this is why it doesn't get an A, right?
No,
because this does not hold up. And at the end, I leave with myself saying, okay, this isn't his fault. The writers made a mistake, and to keep the continuity of Adama together, we just know he's a moral, thoughtful, brilliant, strategic leader who cares for his family, and we're going to keep those qualities. Whatever happened with him blaming himself for something that wasn't his fault, I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna get rid of that out of my head altogether for issue 11. right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess if the chat has any thoughts.
I've got a few people still watching, probably lurking, just, listening to us, because we're going to get you out of here. We're going to get you out of here. And then on that note, before I forget, weather withstanding, I should be in Ireland next week. So I won't be doing this next week. And do I get back in time? I should be back in time. Weather withstanding, I'm not stuck over there. God forbid, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I'd be stuck in Ireland for a couple of days extra. That I should be back 2 weeks Wednesday, at least for Battlestar Galactica. So
not next week, but the following. So that would be
next Wednesday.
Wednesday the 16th. We will have another BSG.
Yeah, the 9th I will be gone. The 16th for me. And great. As usual, plug whatever you got going on the rest of the week.
Thanks. Let's see. I may have an impromptu with Dadman. He announced, I think, in a few places that he's got a lot of busy things going on with just different stuff. So he will not be doing scheduled streams for the next little bit, but you may see me over there. At the very least, we might do a Saturday football show where we go over some of the active games for college on Saturday. I also forgot Mark D with the C should be back from his away mission in real life. So we will be back to Friday night or late night Fortnite on Mark D with the C's channel Friday. And maybe will you be gone or will we see you there?
Well, this Friday, is he back this Friday?
Yes, he should be.
That's up for grabs. I plan on it, I guess.
Okay.
Although I've got some issues with Fortnite because I did a little research on some of the stuff we were talking about, the hacking and cheating. A lot of the stuff was a long time ago, but I saw a couple from a month or 2 months ago, and it's real.
Yep.
Some of the things we've come across.
Oh, I know I know they are.
I know they are too. I'm 100% convinced from the things that we've been seeing. But we'll talk about that.
Sure. And then Saturday night at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, I will be once again doing Saving Star Trek with Admiral Teague, where we're going over the next episode in season 1 of Star Trek Enterprise, or as it's known in season 1, just as Enterprise, that has the very spicy decontamination chamber that we don't get in Battlestar Galactica. So this is and don't worry if you don't have access to it. We love to do a wonderful watch party with some Cosme action in there. So it's like we're all sitting in a big virtual family room watching this with your favorite snack of choice. So would love to see everybody there too. And then I guess if Mark's back, I'll be at least hanging out in chat, if not on the panel, or who knows what Sunday will hold for Sunday Night Geekery. But I don't miss that for the world, whether I'm on the panel or just in the chat as a guest. So that rounds out the rest of the week for me. Thank you for letting me plug.
Oh, always. And like I said, if I forget, you just do it anyway.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm serious. You have free reign, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah. And to thank everybody in the chat, Putin's Cat, Buddy Hepburn, Dadman, and I will try to Snortapoopas. Thank you for popping in. Anybody did we miss? Some lurkers, I think, might have said hello. Gap After Dark. Yep. Thanks for popping in and saying hello and hanging out. And he did make a joke. I was like, he didn't make any jokes about me. He did. All the way at 9:00. I was like, come on, Gap, you're losing it tonight. Nope, he got me. So I guess with that, JT, let's get you out of here, man. You got stuff to do.
Yep.
And thank you so much for being here. It's always awesome when you're here. And
the pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
So let's give a wave out. And I don't have an outro video, so see you later.